Alright, hello everyone. I'm back with another video. Okay, this video I'm doing a maths paper. This is the SBP trial. Yeah, Sekolah Asrama Penuh. This the trial 2025 Mathematics Kelas 2. I already did the paper 1. This video I'll be doing the paper 2 lah. Okay, so if you all want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe. And if you all are interested to gain early access to my future videos, you can join my channel membership. All the links are in the description. Okay, alright, let's start now. Okay, bahagian A, jawab semua soalan. Number 1. So write the following simultaneous equation in the form of matrix. And then hence, by using matrix method, solve the following simultaneous linear equations. So this one is obviously the matrix chapter. Okay, and it's a simultaneous equation, but you have to use the matrix method to solve it. So the way to do that, first, make sure the equation is arranged nicely first. You have to arrange it like this, x, y, and then number on the other side, x, y, number on the other side, and then stack them on top of each other. And after you do that, then you can open bracket equals to bracket. The first bracket, you will write down the number before x, y. Yeah, it means you write down the coefficient. Okay, so the coefficient, the kali here is 1, and then here is 3, is 2, this is -1. And then the next bracket, you have to write the unknown. So the x have to write atas, y have to write bawah like that, and then this one is you write the answer 5 -4. Now you can solve for xy. So this one dia punya hubungan darab. So when darab, when you hantar sana dia jadi bahagi kan. But in matrix we don't call it bahagi, we call it inverse. So what we have to do is do the inverse of this matrix. And the formula to find inverse is 1 over, and then start dari atas darab silang. So 1 times -1, and then minus with 2 times 3. And then the 1 and -1, you have to tukar tempat. Jadi -1, 1, and then the 3 and 2 you have to tukar tanda. Okay, this is how you do inverse matrix. And don't forget the 5 -4, you still have to write here. Now you can find out the determinant. This number down here, we call it the determinant. Okay, all right, 1 times -1 is -1, minus 6 is -7. And then these two matrices, we can multiply them. All right, when you multiply these two matrices, you will end up with a 2-row, 1-column matrix. It means you will end up with one number on top and then one number at the bottom. Okay, and cara kita darab is macam ni, horizontal darab vertical, and then tulis atas, and then horizontal darab vertical, tulis bawah. Okay, all right, let's start with the first pair, -1 times 5, and then -3 times -4, like that. And then the next one will be next second row times first column, so -2 times 5, and then 1 times -4. Okay, if there's nothing in between means plus, right? Okay, sampai sini kita boleh buat yang tambah tolak dulu. So the 1 over -7, leave it first. Okay, -5 plus 12, 7. -10 minus 4, -14. And then both numbers have to divide by -7, so you end up with -1 and +2, right? Okay, but don't stop here. The soalan asks you to solve. So if you stop here, it's not good. You should write write one more line. X equals -1, Y equals 2, like that. Yeah, I always tell my students, kena tulis baris ni. Okay. Okay, so that's all for this. How many marks? 4 marks for this. Okay. Okay, now we are at question 2. This one is confirm the set chapter lah. So it's the form 4. I think it's chapter 4. Is it? 1 is quadratic, 2 number base, 3 logical. Yeah, chapter 4. Operation set. Okay, given that universal set is x between 0 and 15, x is an integer, and then set p, x is a prime number, set q, x is an even, set r, x is a factor of 36. And then A lists all the elements of P, Q, R using set notation. All right, this one we call it set description. Yeah, when they give you this, these are all set description. And what we have to do is we have to convert the set description to set notation. Okay, all right, what is set notation? Set notation means you have to senaraikan, list out all the elements according to the description. So let's do that. So the universal set, we have to list out. Even if the question never asks also, you have to list out this first. Because if you don't list out the elements, if you don't list out all the senaraikan all the elements, then you can't do what the question want you to do. Yeah, you have to do that first. All right, so for the universal, it says the x is between 0 and 15 and it's an integer. So 0 is included, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, 0 and 15 is included. Yeah, because they got put a line here, right? So if they got put equal sign here, means the 0 and 15 is included. Okay. Okay, that's it. Now let's go to set P. X is a prime number. Okay, prime number is number yang ada dua factor sahaja. It means the number can only divide by itself and divide by 1. And what is the world's smallest prime number? 2. Remember, 1 is not prime number. 1 only has 1 factors. Yeah, it's just 1 and 1. Yeah. So 1 is special, dia satu factor saja and it's not a prime number. Prime number dia kena ada dua factor. Alright, so the world's smallest prime number is 2. And at the same time, 2 is also the only even number that is prime. Yeah, 2 is the only nombor genap yang considered prime number. All the other even numbers, they are not prime, except 2 lah. Okay, so the next one will be 3. Next one will be 5, 7, 8 cannot, 9 no, can divide by 3, 10 cannot, 11 yes, 12 is not prime, 13 is prime, 14 no because can divide 2, 15 no, can divide by 5. So yeah, these are all the prime numbers list out in a row. Okay, what about 17? 17 is also prime, right? So why I never write the 17? Because 17 is not in the universal set. So remember guys, if the soalan ada universal set, you have to make sure the rest of the set, make sure the elements in the rest of the set needs to exist in the universal set baru boleh tulis. Because universal set is the set semesta, it's the keseluruhan. Yeah, universal, right? It's the universe. So you cannot have anything outside of the universal set. So make sure when you write the PQR, you check and make sure dia ada dekat universal set baru boleh tulis. Same with the set Q, X is an even number, but you will not just list out all the even numbers in the world. No, you won't do that. You will only list out the ones that is in the universal, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay? Yeah, only the even numbers in the universal. Okay, set R says X is a factor of 36, but you can't list out all the factors of 36. You want to make sure it's in the universal set baru boleh tulis. Okay, all right. But what if the question never have the universal set? Then you list out all the factor of 36 lah. If the soalan tak ada universal. But for soalan yang ada bagi universal set, then you have to check these things. You have to check whether the element you write is in the universal or not. If it's not in the universal, you can't write that. So now let's list out the factor of 36. So what I confirm 36 is not prime number lah. Yeah, because it's definitely has more than 2 factors. Okay? So you have 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 5 tak boleh, 6 times 6. So as you can see, these are all the factors of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, 36. Ada banyak factor. But only those yang ada dekat universal je boleh tulis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9 and 12. And that's it. 18 and 36. Walaupun dia factors of 36 tapi tak boleh tulis sebab tak ada dekat universal. And after you're done with this, now soalan A kata list all the elements of PQR. So this is the answer. Okay. Okay, notice how in the A, they never ask you to list the element for universal, right? But still you have to list out. Because if you don't list out this, how you want to list out the PQR? Yeah, so remember, these things, you have to do it even if the question never asks you to do. Yeah, even if the question never asks you to list in set notation, you have to list. Yeah, memang macam tu. Kalau dia bagi set description, you have to change everything. You have to list out all the elements, even if the question never asked. Okay, B, they want to find N. Okay, this N means to find the number of elements for Q union R complement. Okay, if Q I already know is this. R I already know is this, but they want to find out the R complement. So let's list out the elements for R complement first, then only take the union for R complement and Q. Okay, so let's list out the R complement. Okay, one more thing I want to mention. If let's say the complement is outside the bracket like this, that means you have to do union dulu baru complement. But this case, the complement is not outside the bracket, it's inside the bracket and it's only for R. That is why you will only do R complement. Means you do complement dulu, baru buat union. Okay, what is R complement? Okay, R is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12. So R complement would be everything except R. So everything except 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12. And when I say everything, it means everything in the universe, in a universal set. So let's list out everything except the ones except the R lah. So 0, okay, and then 3, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, those are R. So 5, yes. 6, no, because 6 is R. And then 7, 8. And then 9, no, because 9 is R. And then 10, 11. 12, no, because 12 is R. And then 13, 14, 15. So this is all the elements for R complement. And after you have that, now you can uh, uh, check this with the Q. Okay. All right, guys, I just noticed I made a careless mistake. Set Q says X is an even number, right? So even number in the universal set, actually I left out one even number, which is 0. Yeah, I just noticed it right now. Yeah, so there should be 0 here. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to double check with the universal. So 0 is also even. Okay. All right. So with that being said, now you can continue from here. Let's find out the Q union R complement. Okay. So saya punya mata boleh tengok sini dengan tengok sini lah. Okay. If the symbol is union means you have to take out. I means you ambil semua. Yeah, it means you have to take out, combine the two set. So when you combine the two set, what happens? The 0 you ada dua-dua pun ada tapi tulis sekali sajalah. Yeah, so ambil semua. So yang ada muncul 2 kali, you tulis sekali saja. Those that repeats, you only write one time. And then 2, 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Basically, you're just combining everything. And then 8 after 8 is 10, 11. Okay, 12 here. And then 13, 14, 15. So these are all the elements for Q union R complement. But they're asking for N, which is the number of elements for Q union R complement. So we just count got how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we write 13 here. And when you're writing number of elements, no need to open the curly bracket. Yeah, for number of element, bilangan element, bila kita tulis tak payah buka curly bracket. Okay, so that's the answer. All right, that's all. Okay, number 3, this one is from 4, chapter 6, linear inequalities. Yeah, I can tell so fast because of the diagram. Yeah, it's very obvious. When they give you lines like this, shaded region is definitely the inequality. Yeah, linear inequalities. Dalam bahasa Melayu, ketaksamaan linear. Diagram 1 shows a shaded region that satisfies the system of linear inequalities, and it's very obvious there's 4 inequalities. Okay, so state all linear inequalities that satisfy the shaded region given. So how come I know there's 4? Because if you look at the shaded region, it's surrounded by how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's surrounded by 4 lines. And coincident, and also if you look at the marks, it's 4 marks, right? Yeah, so 1 mark for one inequality lah. So when they say state all inequalities, that means state all 4. There's 4 inequalities. Okay. All right. The first one, let's say this line. Later you have to write smaller or bigger. Smaller, right? Smaller because the shaded region bawah. Kalau bawah, you have to write smaller. What about this line? Okay, this is a vertical line and it's the y-axis. So if it's vertical line, you cannot kiri kanan. Kena tengok kiri kanan. So the shaded region is on the right side, so you have to write bigger. Okay. Then what about this line? Okay, this line is a horizontal line, so tengok atas bawah. So shaded region atas, so I have to write bigger. And then the final line, this sangat line, you have to write smaller because the shaded region is below this line. But I cannot write the bigger, smaller now because I don't have the equation for all these lines. So my job now is to find out the equation of all these lines first. After finding the equation, then only I change the equation to inequality by writing bigger or smaller macam tu. Okay. Alright, let's start with this line right here. This line is the y-axis and the y-axis equation is called x equals 0. Yep. For lines yang macam ni, vertical, the equation will be x equals number. And the number depends on where dekat mana dia potong x-axis lah. In this case, the y-axis potong the x-axis at 0, so it's x equals 0. So this is the equation for this line. Now for the second line, which is this horizontal line, it will be y equals -3. Because if it's a completely horizontal line, then definitely the equation would be like this. Y equals to number, and the number is -3 because dia potong y-axis dekat -3 lah. Yeah, because of this point, right? Yeah. Okay, for this line here, you have to do y equal mx plus c because it's a sangat line. Kalau dia sangat line, kita tulis equation mesti tulis macam ni, y equal mx plus c. Yang tadi dia bukan line yang sangat. Ya, yang tadi dia line yang vertical dengan horizontal. So untuk line yang tak ada sengit dia punya equation just x equals something, y equals something macam tu je. Tapi kalau line yang sengit kita kena cari m dengan c lah. Alright, c we can already see it from the diagram. The y-intercept of this line is 5. So I don't have to find it myself, just write 5. So the only thing left now is to find gradient, and we all know the gradient formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, but we need two coordinates. Kita kena ada dua coordinate when finding gradient. So tell me, is there any 2 points that I can use for this line? Okay, dia ada melalui 0,5 and dia ada melalui 80. So we can use these 2 points to find the gradient, 0,5, 80. Okay, yeah, just make sure you choose any 2 points that passes through the line. Okay, so y minus y, 5 minus 0, x minus x, 0 minus 8. So the answer is negative 5 over 8. And the equation is y equals negative 5 over 8x plus 5. Yeah. All right, for the last line, which is this line right here, so it's also a second line. So for second line, it will be y equal mx plus c, but the c, I can see it already is 0. So I just write 0. So now just find gradient. And same thing, you need 2 points when finding gradient. So tell me, is there any 2 points that I can use? Yes. First is the negative 3. The other point is the 0, 0. Okay? Yeah. You can choose any 2 points on the line. Okay? Alright, 0, 0. Negative 3. Okay, y minus y over x minus x. So negative 3 minus 0 over negative 3 minus 0, which gives you positive 1. So you have your equation now. Y equals mx plus 0, which is 1x plus 0. So it's just y equals 1x lah. And then the plus 0, kalau tak nak tulis, tak apa juga. Okay. Okay, you still haven't get full marks because they're asking for inequalities. So you have to change all the equal sign to bigger or smaller. Okay. So the first equation is x equals 0, and the equal will change to what? So don't forget the x equals 0 is this line right here, the y-axis. So you have to write bigger, right? And it's actually bigger equals. Yeah, because it's a solid line and the shaded region is on the right side of this line. Okay. Now for the next line is y negative 3. So the y equals negative 3 is the horizontal line. But we have to write bigger or smaller. Well, look at the shaded region. We take the shaded region on top of this line. So we have to write bigger, but this time no equal. Why? Because they use dashed line or they use the dotted line. So for dotted line, dia tak ada equal. Okay. All right. Now for the next one, y and then negative 5 or 8x plus 5. So this one is this sengit line. So we have to write smaller equals lah. Yeah, because it's a solid line and also the shaded region is below the line. Okay. And finally, y equals to x. That one is y smaller equals x. Yeah, because it's this sengit line. For sengit line, kita tengok atas bawah. So bawah, kalau shaded region duduk bawah, kita ambil smaller. And dia ada equal sign sebab dia adalah solid line. Okay. Okay, so this is how you get full mark for this question. Alright, number 4 is definitely from 4, chapter 3. This chapter is called Logical Reasoning. Dalam bahasa Melayu, penakkulan logik. Okay, A, write a compound statement. Compound statement means you combine two statements into one statement by using the word and ataupun or. Okay, so they want you to combine by combining the following two statements using the word or. Okay, I can do that. Just write this and then letak or and then write this after that. But then they say hence state the true value of that compound statement. Okay, apa maksud true value, nilai kebenaran? Means you have to write down whether the whole statement is true or false. Okay. Okay, let's see if they sediakan ruang. Okay, dia ada sediakan ruang sini kan. But I think I'll just do it. I'll just write it here lah. Yeah. But in exam you write in the answer space provided. Okay, so 125 is a multiple of 5, or 125 is a perfect square number, right? But you can see the 125, they already repeat 2 times. So you don't have to write this. It's the same thing. So I can just write multiple of 5 or a perfect square number. Yeah, like that. All right. So 125 is multiple of 5 or a perfect square number. Okay, this is the first part because they want you to write compound statement, but then you have to write whether it's true or false, right? So we have to either write true or false here. So when we pecahkan this statement, we get back this two statement, right? So let's check whether it's true or false. Okay, 125 is multiple of 5. This one is true. Yeah, it's true because 125 can divide by 5. So 125 is a multiple of 5. Next one, 125 is perfect square number. This is false. Yeah, 125 is not a perfect square. Okay. Uh, perfect square means nombor yang boleh square root and the answer comes out will not have decimal. So for example, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square. All right, this one square gives you 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square 25. So all these number that I circled here, these are all perfect square. And 125 will not be here. Yeah, no. Because 6 square is not 125, 7 square is no, 8 square no, 9 square no, 10 square no, 11 square no, 12 square no. Yeah. Basically 125 is not a perfect square. And if you try to square root 125, they will give you like decimal. So that's why it's not a perfect square. So this is false. So now, if one is true, one is false, what we have to do? Look at the middle word. If the middle word is or, you will write true. Yeah. So I repeat one more time. Kalau satu true, satu false, and then kalau in the middle is or, you write true. But what if kalau satu true, satu false, tapi tengah-tengah and? Okay, kalau tengah-tengah and, you write true. Sorry, kalau tengah-tengah and, you write false. Ya, sebab kalau dia and dia kena dua-dua true baru boleh true. Ya, kalau and lah. Tapi kalau or, ya salah satu true then sudah boleh true dah. Macam tu. Okay. Alright. What about B? Write the inverse of the following implication. So they give you implication. The implication format is always if P then Q. So I would underline this, write P here, underline this, and write Q here. And for inverse, the formula is if not P then not Q. That's the formula. That's the format. Okay. So when writing the inverse, you do this. If not P then not Q. It means you have to do negation lah. So dia kan jadi if. Alright. Don't just write the P, you have to do negation. So 3x smaller equals negative 21. When you do negation, it becomes 3x bigger than negative 21. Okay. Okay, let me explain you a bit. When you're doing negation, what you have to do is you have to change the true value. It means you have to change from true to false or false to true. Understand? And how you change the true value is by using the word no or not. If it's an English sentence, like this, when you do negation, yeah, you use one of these words to change the true value. For example, 1 to 5 is multiple of 5, but when you do negation, 1 to 5 is not a multiple of 5, something like that, right? But what if it's not an English sentence? What if it's a mathematical sentence? Like, for example, this one. You can see this is not an English sentence. It's like a mathematic sentence. It's a inequality, right? And also, they're using symbols. The smaller equal symbol. So, takkan lah you want to put the word no or not here. Yeah, it's weird, right? Yeah, so for symbol, you have to know for this symbol, the negation will be this symbol. Smaller equals the opposite, or you can say the negation, the lawan is bigger. That's why I write bigger here. Same with this. Then, okay, x smaller equals negative 7. We're doing the negation, but we have to use the symbol. So what is the symbol? The negation symbol for smaller equals will be bigger lah. Yeah, so make sure you know that. Smaller equals, the negation is bigger. Then what if it's bigger here? It's bigger, what's the negation? It will be smaller equals lah. Yeah. Okay. So like that. Alright. I sudah siap saya punya inverse. And then now can do C already lah. Okay. But you have to double check. Sometimes they will ask you to write the inverse. And then after that, they will ask you to state the true value of the implication. Yeah, sometimes they will ask that, but this question never ask for that. But if they ask for the true value for this, then you have to write whether this one is true or false lah. And also for implication, yang ada perkataan if then, cara kita tengok dia punya true value tak sama dengan yang atas ni. Tak sama dengan yang ada and or. Yang ada and or is like, kalau satu true, satu false, and then kalau or dia true kan. And then kalau satu true, satu false, kalau and dia jadi false. Tapi kalau if then dia lain. Kalau if then dia lain. Kalau if then contoh, kalau if true then true, dia jadi true. Tapi kalau if true then false, dia jadi false. And then kalau if false then true, dia jadi true. And then kalau if false then false, dia jadi true. Basically to make it simple, it will always be true. Kalau ada if then it will always be true, except when P is true, Q is false. Then only it will become false. Yeah. So this one is like, usually student skip over this part. Yeah, they forget about this thing one. They forget this thing exists one. So I hope I'm mentioning this. So hopefully you can know what to study and yeah, work. If you know you not aware of it, make sure now you are aware of it lah. Okay, but this question never really asked for that, so I won't go into the details much. Okay. All right. Soalan C, complete the premise for the following argument. To be more specific, is a deductive argument. Yeah, deductive argument. Okay. Deductive argument means the premise one will give you a general, and then the rest is the specific. Then it's called deductive. So this one, it says if a regular polygon has 6 sides, so this is definitely the P, then the interior angle polygon is 120. And then the premise 2, they never give. And then conclusion, the regular polygon does not have 6 sides. So this is mentioning P or Q. P, right? But they're actually doing negation P. Yeah, because the P is regular polygon has 6 sides, but here they write regular polygon does not have 6 sides. Okay, so they do negation P. That means the premise 2, you have to write Q and then do negation Q. So the interior angle, yeah, basically you're just writing Q lah. And then of the regular polygon, okay, instead of writing regular polygon, I'll write polygon M. Because when they're doing the negation P, they also change the regular polygon to polygon M. So I'll do the same thing. Polygon M. And then is 120, but I'll write is not 120. Yeah, because we have to do the negation. Okay. So this one is clearly the, because there's only 3 valid form of deductive argument. 3 valid form, right? Form number 1, form number 2, form number 3. And this is the form number 3. Yeah, form number 3. Because form number 3 is like this. If P then Q, and then here will be Q is not true, and then conclusion is P is not true. Okay. Kalau form number 2, dia jadi if P then Q, and then premise 2 will be P is true, and then conclusion Q is true. Itu kalau form number 2. But this one is form number 3 because they mention Q first and they do negation Q first. Then only they do negation P. Okay. Alright, hope you understand. That's all for this. Okay, let's do question 5. Alright, question number 5 is Rotex question. Okay, don't confuse the Rotex and the motor insurance. Motor insurance, dia complicated sikit. Dia ada banyak formula kena hafal. Ada comprehensive lah, kena hafal 26 ringgit, 20.3 kalau Sabah Sarawak, 26 kalau Semenanjung, ada banyak sikit formula. But Rotex, dia tak ada semua tu. Rotex is quite simple one. Yeah, it's very simple. So they give you a table already. Yeah, for Rotex, dia tak ada extra formula. You just use the table given, you can do everything already. So Encik Haikal needs to pay Rotex for 2 cars with an engine capacity 1000cc and 2400cc. Calculate Rotex for both of his cars. But I see the word total. That means you have to calculate separately and then tambah the 2 Rotex in the end. Okay. So for my working, I will write like this: 1000cc, and then I underline, and then I will write 2400cc, and then draw a line like that, so that the teacher know, okay, so that I don't mix them up lah. Okay, because it's 2 different cars, so 2 different calculation. Okay, for 1000cc punya, dia punya Rotex berapa? So 1000cc and below, dia punya base rate RM20, progressive rate kosong. So that means the only Rotex yang dia kena amount bayar is RM20 lah. So I write here Rotex for this kenderaan RM20. Now for the 2400cc, we go to the range yang 2400 punya inilah, and then 380. Okay, so I write Rotex equals 380 is the base rate, but then the progressive rate is tambah RM1 setiap cc melebihi 2000. Maksudnya kalau you punya cc 2001, 2001, kalau you punya cc 2001, that means you have to bayar 380 tambah RM1. Kalau 2002cc, then 380 tambah RM1 2 kali. Macam tu. Itu maksud dia. So kalau sekarang 2400, you kena tambah RM1 400 kali lah. Sebab apa tahu? Sebab 1400, you kena tolak dengan 2000 dulu, because you want to know berapa dia melebihi, and then darab dengan RM1. Yeah, because it's RM1 setiap cc melebihi. So now you get 380, but of course this one have to tekan dulu. So sini dapat 400, and then in the end you dapat 780, and then I recommend write RM because this is the last baris. Okay, after getting Rotex for 2 cars separately, now we can find the total. So just write total sama dengan 780 tambah 20 dapat 800. So that's the answer. Okay, that's it. Alright, sekarang B pula. Encik Haikal plans to buy a new car. So this is already the third car, right? Yeah, because he already has two cars here. Now you want to buy a new one. So this will be the third car. He allocates 150 ringgit to pay for the Rotex for the car. Okay, I always tell my student, allocates, the symbol means smaller equals. Yeah, allocates means smaller equals. It means dia hanya mampu bayar 150 ringgit. Yeah, he's only willing to pay this amount for the third car. So what is the maximum possible engine capacity for Encik Haikal's new car? Okay, soalan A tadi bagi CC suruh cari Rotex. Yang ini dia bagi tahu berapa yang dia mampu bayar and then cari balik dia punya CC. What is the maximum engine capacity? So I think I have to go straight away to the table lah. So tell me, berapa maximum CC yang dia kena beli? Kalau dia hanya sanggup bayar 150 ringgit for Rotex, how much CC he should buy? Definitely not this one, right? Because this one the base rate pun sudah lebih 150 dah. Ini semua tengok 200, 280, 300. Ya. Kalau you beli kereta yang CC macam ni, yang more than 1601, 1601, you mesti end up paying more than 150. Tapi dia dah cakap dia hanya sanggup bayar 150 ringgit atau kurang. So the maximum CC yang dia boleh beli is 1600 lah. Ya, kalau dia ini maximum 1600 cc. Because if you beli, contoh you beli kereta yang 1600 cc, Eurotax bayar 90 saja. Ya, 90 saja. Tapi kalau you beli 1601 cc, okay, finish. You have to bayar 200 ringgit tambah dengan 4%, which already melebihi dia punya budget. So that's why tak boleh beli 1601. The maximum yang boleh dia beli is 1600. Okay, what if I bayar 1000, beli yang 1200 cc? Boleh juga kan, sebab you beli yang tu pun you punya Rotex lagi kurang kan, but they asking for maximum. Yeah, so the maximum, paling maximum CC yang dia boleh beli is 1600 cc kalau dia nak bayar 150 ringgit sahaja. Alright, so hope you understand. Okay, number 6. Solving using matrix method is not allowed in this question. Alright, guys, just by this line, I already know this question need to do simultaneous. Yeah, that's how confident I am. Because only simultaneous equation has matrix method. Yeah, only simultaneous equation, persamaan serentak punya soalan, ada cara matrix, ada kaedah matrix. So kalau dia kata kaedah matrix tak boleh dibenarkan, maksudnya this question mesti simultaneous and dia nak awak guna cara yang bukan matrix method lah. So cara apa? Cara penggantian penghapusan. Yeah, substitution elimination method. Okay. Alright, but we have to read the question also to understand what exactly is happening here. Okay, diagram 2 shows a sketch of the intersection between road PR and QS on the Cartesian plane. So PR and QS, okay. And then a water fountain is located at the center of the roundabout at the junction of road PR and QS. So the water fountain located at the center. So this is the roundabout and the center of the roundabout, this point T, dia nak buat satu water fountain. Okay, water fountain. So given that the equation of straight line road PR and QS is y equals negative x plus 3 and y equals 3x plus 1, respectively, which intersect at point T, determine the coordinates of T. Okay, let's label the PR equation. So this one is y equals negative x plus 3. And then we have SQS is 2y equals 3x plus 1. Alright, after having this, now we can try to find the coordinates of T. Okay, coordinates of T is the intersection of these two lines, right? So how do you find the point of intersection? So when they give you two lines and you're trying to find the intersection point coordinate, just take the two equation of the line, of the two lines, and then just do simultaneous. Yeah, just do simultaneous. Simultaneous means you buat penggantian lah, or penghapusan. But they say cannot use matrix method, right? Yeah, so just do penggantian. Kalau saya buat penggantian. Kenapa saya buat penggantian? Sebab this one, dia punya y sudah single. So I can just straight away ganti yang y ni dalam y sini, right? So I will call this equation 1, I'll call this equation 2, and then I'll write sub 1 into, means substitute 1 into, ganti satu dalam 2. So when you sub 1 into 2, your equation 2 becomes 2 bracket equals 3x plus 1, and then for the y you can do negative x plus 3. Okay, ada juga cara lain. Contoh nak buat penghapusan boleh juga. Kalau buat penghapusan, you kena samakan kali untuk y lah. Maybe you can darab 2, jadikan dia 2y, lepas tu tolak, ambil equation atas, tolak bawah. Untuk hapuskan y. Sama boleh juga, you will get the same answer. Okay, but I'll choose to do it like this. So sekarang kita kena kembang. So negative 2x, kembang dapat 6 sama dengan 3x plus 1. I'm trying to find x. So x dengan x boleh buat. So tapi saya nak jadikan, saya akan pindah macam ni. Because if you pindah macam ni, the x will be positive. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Plus 1 jadi minus 1. 6 minus 1, 5x sama dengan 1. But we are trying to find point T. Cari koordinat. Koordinat mesti ada x, y kan? So macam mana nak cari y? So ambil x1, ganti balik dalam equation yang atas. Okay, so I'll ganti into equation 1. So y sama dengan negative x tambah 3x1. So y sama dengan negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So there you have it. That's the coordinate of point T. But don't stop here. Write one more line and write, when you write coordinate, you have to write in this form. T bracket and then 1, 2 like this. Yeah, make sure you write in this format, because that's how you write coordinates. Okay, that's it for number 6. Okay, number 7, diagram 3 shows an undirected graph. It means graph yang tak ada arrow. Okay, graph yang tak ada direction. So if you look at this, it can see that there is no arrow here. It's an undirected graph. But I saw some things here. Okay, what is this and what is this? Right, let's talk about PQ. What is this? What you see here? Okay, I remember I asked one of my students, and one of the students said loops. Yeah, one of the students said loops. So no, this is not loops. This is not loops. This is called multiple edges. Okay, you jangan ingat, oh kalau ada bulat then it's loops. No, 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 no. Kalau dia loops, dia hanya involve satu vertex saja. Loops dia mesti start from one vertex and then go back to the same vertex. Itu baru loops. This one is not a loop. This one it involve two vertices. Dia involve dua vertex. So bila dia involve dua bucu, dia bukan loops. This is called multiple edges. Then what about this? This one is loop. This one is loop. Okay. So tell me, if the graph has loops and multiple edges, that means is what? That means it's not a simple graph. Yeah, it's not a simple graph. Yeah. Okay, let's do A. Determine the sum of degrees of the following graph. Okay, what's the meaning of sum of degrees? Okay, the symbol is like this. Sum, this is the symbol for sum. Degree, the symbol is D, and then degree of vertex. So what's the meaning of sum of degree? What they are saying is find out the degree of vertex P and vertex Q and R and S and then tambah semua. Okay, and then tambah semua. But usually when they ask for sum of degree, we usually do it fast by using the formula 2 times NE. Times number of edges. So just do 2 times and then kira got how many edge. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the loops, we only count it as 1 edge. 1 edge. So 2 times 5, the answer is 10. That's the answer. Okay, that's how you find the sum of degree. Okay, but let's say the soalan only asks for degree of vertex Q. Then you don't use this formula. If they ask for degree of vertex Q, you cannot do 2 times NE. That one you have to go to Q and then kira how many line cucuk lah. Because that's how you find degree. So 1, 2, 3. So 3. Itu kalau dia tanya for degree Q lah. Okay. Tapi kalau dia tanya for sum of degree, you boleh buat cepat guna formula ni. Okay. Alright, that's it. For soalan B, dia nak lukis 2 subgraph. Draw 2 subgraph but for the following graph. Okay, what is subgraph? Okay, some students, they might confuse subgraph and tree. Subgraph and tree. Tree is pokok. So don't make sure you don't confuse the two things. So let's talk about subgraph first. What is subgraph? Subgraph means it's part of the graph or the whole graph redrawn. Yeah, subgraph means it's part of the graph or the whole graph redrawn. But you cannot change the position of the vertex and the edges. Yeah, so it's part of the graph or the whole graph redrawn without changing any position of the vertex and all and the edges. Okay. Then what about tree? What is tree? Okay, tree is also a subgraph. Tree is also a subgraph. But for tree, it has 4 additional characteristics. It has to be simple graph. It means no multiple edges, no loops. And then it has to be all vertex connected. It means that cannot have any isolated vertex. And then third one is the NE must be NV minus 1. And then the fourth one, no cycle. So yeah, this is for tree. Okay. So tree and subgraph is the same thing, but tree has these 4 characteristics. But this question never asked for you to draw tree. They asked for 2 subgraph. So if you don't have to worry about these 4 characteristics because they are not asking for you to draw tree. So for subgraph, you just have to make sure the graph you draw is part of the graph or the whole graph also can. Okay, okay, I'll just draw part of the graph. So I think I'll just draw this line right here, B to Q. Okay, B to Q. So it's like that, and then like that, and then I'm done. But I want you to draw two. So for the other subgraph, I will maybe just draw maybe just this part of the curve. So it's like that, and like that. So R QS. Yeah, this is my first subgraph. This one is my second one. So that's all done already. Okay. Or you wanna just draw that loop at R can also. Just like that is considered a subgraph also. Yeah, because subgraph dia tak ada empat karakteristik. So we don't have to worry about all these things. Just make sure it's part of the graph or the whole graph. But let's say they want you to draw two trees. Then this two will be the wrong answer already. Yeah, kalau this suruh lukis pokok, lukis tree, then this will be wrong. Because tree, all vertex must be connected. That means the PQRS, all vertex has to be connected. So it cannot be like this. Because if like this means the RS tak connect pun. Okay. And when you connect, you have to make sure tak ada loop, tak ada multiple edges tau. And also you have to make sure the NE equals NV minus 1. It means if the NV is 4, PQRS ada 4, the edges must be 3. You have to connect in such a way that there's no multiple edges, no loop, no cycle, and at the same time the edges has to be one less than the vertex. And of course, you have to be part of the graph also at the same time, because tree is subgraph. Okay. Alright, so I'm just mentioning some additional notes for you lah. Soalan ni dia tak suruh pun lukis tree. But I know a lot of students confuse these two things, and also this is one of the exam suka tanya punya soalan, the tree. So make sure you all know this lah, and make sure you remember the 4 characteristics. Alright, that's all. Okay, we are at question 8. This looks like a quadratic chapter. Okay, so diagram 4 shows a rectangular carpet with a length 5x minus 10 meters and the width is x plus 5 meters. So they already label nicely and it's a rectangle. Okay, it's in meters. Given the area of carpet is 600 meters square, calculate the value of x. Alright, I think I'll just use find the area of rectangle equals to 600 lah. Okay, the area of rectangle is length times width, or you can say base times height, whatever lah. So I'll just do 5x minus 10 times x plus 5 equals 600, and then continue from here and solve for x lah. But I want to mention something. Look at the unit. This is in meter, this is in meter. So when you take meter darab dengan meter, you dapat meter square. So no problem, right? Now imagine if this one is cm square. Imagine if this is cm square. Just imagine. What will you do? You have to take this one darab this one bahagi 10,000. Because kalau ini cm square, you take this one darab this one, you'll be in meter square. But meter square kalau nak convert jadi cm square, you kena bahagi 10,000. Bahagi pula, darab. Silap. Darab dengan 10,000. Bukan darab 100 No. Kalau meter jadi cm, darab 100. Tapi kalau meter square, kalau 1 meter square, nak jadi cm square, kena darab 10,000. Because 1 meter square is actually 1 meter times 1 meter. That's why it should be 100 cm times 100 cm, which is 10,000 cm square. Okay. Yeah, so yang tu kena tahu lah. Okay. Yeah, so I just want to use this opportunity. I'm going to use this chance to explain to you how to convert meter square to cm square, because some students still don't know this. Yeah, so you have to make sure you know that. Okay, but this question, they actually don't have this issue. The unit is already same, so macam tu lah. But still, make sure you know what I mentioned just now. Alright, how do you solve for x here? Okay, the only way is to expand this. After expand jadi general form, bring the 600 here, and then susun jadi general form, and then factorize using calculator. That's the only way. Okay. You cannot do like that. You cannot straight away 5x minus 10 equals 600, and then x plus 5. Tak boleh. This is wrong. This is wrong. You can only do like that if this one is 0. If this is 0, then you can do like that. Yeah, if this one is 0, you can straight away take 5x minus 10 equals 0, x plus 5 equals 0. But it's not 0 now. It's 600. So the only way to do it is to expand. 5x times x, 5x squared, 5x times 5, 25x, negative 10 times x, negative 10x, negative 10 times 5, negative 50. And the 600, you kena pindah sini, jadi minus 600 equals 0. Even if you tak pindah sekarang, nanti kena pindah juga. Lebih baik you pindah sekarang. Alright, this is not 150, this is 50. Yeah, negative 10 and 50. I make a careless mistake. Okay, now X dengan X boleh buat, number dengan number boleh buat. So 5X square, 25X minus 10X, positive 15X, negative 50 minus 600, negative 650 equals 0. Okay, now you can factorize using calculator, right? So macam mana? Just tekan calculator, A tekan ni, B tekan ni, C tekan ni lah. But before that, kalau boleh kecilkan, kita kena kecilkan dulu. So tell me, can I simplify this? Yes, all these numbers can bahagi 5. So bahagi 5 dapat X square, bahagi 5, 3X, bahagi 5, 130. Okay, now you can factorize. Alright, tekan calculator, A tekan 1, B tekan 3, C tekan negative 130, and the calculator will give you two answers. So what's the first answer? Okay, let me press. Okay, A is 1, 3, negative 130. Okay, hopefully you all know how to press. So my calculator give me 10 and negative 13. So write that down. And make sure you kosong satu baris sini because you have to write bracket, bracket equals 0. So what you have to write here, X minus 10. Because the 10 you pindah balik. And then minus 13 pindah balik jadi X plus 13 like that. Okay, but whenever you have two answers, you should always ask yourself, do I have to reject one of the answer or ambil dua-dua? Yeah. When you're doing maths and maths memang macam tu. Kalau dapat dua jawapan, you kena check whether you kena ambil dua jawapan kena ambil ke saya kena reject. So macam mana nak tahu? Tengok balik soalan lah. So kalau you tengok balik soalan, dia kata cari nilai X. And X sebenarnya adalah panjang ataupun lebar untuk kapet. So imagine if your X is negative 13. Cuba you ganti masuk. Dia akan jadi negative 13 tambah 5 sini dapat negative 8 meter. But I want you to know meter tak ada negative. Panjang tak ada negative. So meter tak ada negative, cm tak ada negative. So we have to reject the answer here. So that means the only answer that makes sense is 10 meter. This is the correct answer. Okay. And also they already say calculate value of X. Value is singular, right? Single. So means X ada satu jawapan sajalah. Okay. Alright. So that's all. Let's continue. Okay. Number 9 is the lower form chapter. Yeah. And this chapter is we learn about the 3D geometrical shape. Yeah. We belajar pasal the luas permukaan, isi padu, yeah, the total surface area and the volume. Okay, let's start. Diagram 5 shows a composite solid formed by joining a right prism and a half cylinder lies on a horizontal plane. Composite solid means two solid combined into one. Okay, and they already say it's a right prism and a half cylinder. So this is the right prism. Okay, what is right prism? Right prism means this is a right angle triangle. Means the cross section will be right angle, and then you just join them like that. This is what we call a right prism. Okay, so and then a half cylinder. So you can see here it's a half cylinder, lies on horizontal plane. EFG is the uniform cross section of the prism. So yeah, EFG is the right angle triangle. That's the uniform cross section of the prism. Okay, now it is given that the volume of solid is 1288 cm cube, and then calculate the height of QR. Okay, QR is actually the height of the cylinder. Okay, and you need that to find the volume. Yeah, because the volume of cylinder is pi r square h. Okay, all right. So let's do it now. How to do? Just find out the total volume equals to 1288 lah. All right, let's talk about the formula first. So for volume of prism, not just right prism, any prism, for volume of any prism, the formula is always the cross section area. Take the cross section area, darab dengan height. Okay. And then what about the volume of cylinder formula? Yeah, volume of cylinder is pi r square h. Okay, but this one is half cylinder, so nanti kena letak 1/2 lah. Okay, all right. So let's start finding the volume of cylinder, total volume, right? So we already know total volume is equals to 1288. So here I have to find the volume of cylinder. So pi dia kata guna 2207 r square h. Okay, for the radius of cylinder, you have to take the SR punya panjang bahagi 2. Yeah, because the cylinder, this is half the cylinder, right? So it means this will be a semicircle. So the center will be somewhere along in the middle here. And the whole line is actually 14, right? 14, 14, 14. So 14 divided by 2 will be 7, 7. So that will be the radius of cylinder. Darab dengan height, the QR. Tapi QR memang saya nak cari. So I'll just write QR, but don't forget the 1/2 because it's half cylinder. Okay. Alright, this whole thing is for the volume of half cylinder. Tambah dengan volume of right prism. Okay, volume of right prism, I told you already. Volume for right prism or any prism is taking the cross section area times height. Okay, cross section means keratan rentas. Keratan rentas is the right angle triangle for this case. Okay, so just find out the area of this triangle and then times with the height, which is 6. So it'll be 1/2 times base times height times 14 times 6. But this is not the answer. This is only the area of cross section. And then you have to times with the height, which is 6 cm lah. Or you can say the distance between the two cross section. Yeah, distance between the two rectangle is 6. Okay. Okay, now I'm trying to find QR. So I have the answer 1288. So later I can pindah. Okay, I will tekan all this first. Alright, I will not use calculator. I will try to do it myself first. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Okay, now I press calculator. 7 times 16 times 6. So my calculator give me 672. So just write that down. And then 1288 here. Okay, what about this? Okay, this one and this one can cut. Yeah, 7 and 7 square cut. You left 7 here. And then 2 and 22 can cut, left with 11. 11 times 7 is 77 QR. Okay. You can use your calculator to help you if you want. So this one pindah jadi tolak. So 77 times QR equals 1288 minus 672. So you got 616. So here you write 616. And then finally your QR 616. Ini darab pindah jadi bahagi. So bahagi 77 you get 8. And the unit is in cm. Yeah, because everything is in cm. So automatic dia keluar pun cm juga. And memang soalan nak cari height in cm also. So that's the answer. Alright, that's all. Okay, number 10. What chapter is this? Looks like Form 4 chapter 10. Yeah, the financial management. Dalam bahasa Melayu, pengurusan kewangan. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Hafiza works as a teacher. Okay, she earns an income of 3580 per month. Okay, they never say what income, but we can all assume it's the salary, it's the active income. Okay, other than that, she conducts tuition class as part-time and receive 820 per month. So this is also another income lah. It's another income, tuition class punya income. She allocates 20% of her total monthly income as fixed savings. Okay, let's find it now. Yeah, walaupun saya tak tahu soalan ada tanya ke tak, tapi we don't care. We don't care, just find it now. So let's find out the 20% is berapa. Okay, it's 20% from her total monthly income. So I need to find out the total monthly income first. So how to find total monthly income? Yang ni tambah dengan ni lah. So 3580 plus with 820, that gives us 4400. So that is the total monthly income. But they said 20% go to the savings. So answer times with 0.2 lah. Alright, I got 880. So what is this? This 880 is the fixed savings. Okay, it's the money that goes into the savings account. Okay, and then they give you table here and they already write its expenses. So all these are expenses. Okay, expenses ada dua jenis. Just like income ada dua jenis, expenses pun ada dua jenis. Income, you have active income and passive income. Okay. Expenses, you also have two types of expenses, fixed expenses and variable expenses. Belanjaan tetap and belanjaan tak tetap. So house rent is tetap, fixed. Car installment, fixed. Groceries, variable. Utility, variable. Entertainment, variable. Toll and petrol, variable also. Okay. Yeah, because all this is berbanding tak tetap. Tak tetap means what? It means amount dia tak tetap lah. Yeah. And you can actually control spending. You can control your spending behavior and the expenses can change according to your spending behavior. But these two is fixed. Because saver rumah, ansuran kereta, yeah, ini tetap punya. Even if you control your spending behavior, you can't change. Yeah, basically you can't change the amount. Yeah. Alright, so let's see what they want here. Table 2 below shows Hafiza expenses for the month of June. Okay, so ini for bulan June. Okay. Calculate Hafiza's cash flow. Alright, senang saja. So how to find cash flow? Okay, the formula to find cash flow. The formula is take total income minus total expenses. Okay, so the total income is this plus this, which I already did just now, 4400. But since 880 go to the savings, then I have to minus lah. Yeah, money yang pergi dekat savings you have to minus. Okay, and then all the rest here all have to minus also because all these are expenses. So minus 600, minus 740, minus 450, minus 350, minus 725, minus 550. So you press all this in your calculator. So you have to wait me Wait for me. Because I'm pressing. So minus 880 minus 600 minus 740 450 350 725 550. All right, my calculator gives me 105. Yeah, so just write RM105 and that should be the cash flow. Okay, sometimes for this type of question, they will ask you to explain your answer. Yeah, sometimes when they ask you to find cash flow, they will say explain your answer. Okay, I know this question never say that, but I want to explain. What if the soalan say explain your answer? Okay, after finding cash flow, if you want to explain the answer, kalau dia suruh explain, you have to open a bracket. And if you get positive cash flow, you have to write positive cash flow. If you get negative, then you write negative cash flow lah. And to explain it, you have to write a sentence here. You have to write Hafiza has a surplus of income RM105 after deducting all the expenses. Itu kalau dia suruh explain. You couldn't buat macam tu. But if you get negative, then you have to write Hafiza has a deficit of income sebanyak negatif berapa tak tahulah. And then after deducting all the expenses macam tu. Yeah. But this question only asks you to calculate, so I don't think you have to write all that. Okay. Okay. All right. Hope you understand. Now for B. Okay. If Hafiza cash flow is negative. Okay. It's positive now, right? It's positive. Hafiza's cash flow is positive. Yeah. It's positive 105. But assuming if it's negative, suggest one step she can take to manage her finances more effectively. Okay. This question memang saya ada ajar lah to my own student. Yeah, when I teach this chapter, I always tell them you have to be aware of this type of question. Yeah, they will suggest two ways to improve the cash flow. Okay, so the two standard way to answer this. Okay, first way you can say reduce the variable expenses, mengurangkan perbelanjaan yang tak tetap. And then another way is you increase your income. You increase your income by maybe doing part time or maybe doing online business. Yeah, that's the two best way to answer it. But this question only asks for one step. Yeah, they only ask for one way. So we just mentioned one lah. But I don't think I'll mention the part time because there's other part times in it. So I think the best way to answer is reduce the expenses and not the fixed expenses, the variable expenses. Alright, if you look at all the variable expenses, they already specific bagi tahu semua kan. So we can try to reduce the variable expenses yang paling tinggi. So you can see which amount paling tinggi. 725, the entertainment, right? So you can write reduce entertainment expenses. Because that way your cash flow will be, it can improve the cash flow if you reduce your entertainment expenses. Okay. Of course, you can also write reduce toll and petrol expenses. You can maybe say like travel less. Yeah, travel less. Because when you travel less, you use less petrol. Yeah, and less toll payment. So yeah, that way your cash flow will also improve. Yeah, so that's how you do it. Okay, they only ask for one way, so I'll only write like that. Reduce entertainment expenses. This is good enough. Okay, all right, that's all. Okay, now let's do bahagian B. So jawab semua soalan. Okay, number 11. Okay, by the diagram, I know already it's from 4 chapter 7. This is called graph of motion. Dalam bahasa Melayu, graph gerakan. Okay, for graph gerakan punya soalan, we always have to make sure we know whether it's a DTG or STG. Distance time graph or speed time graph. And this case is very obvious, it's a distance time graph. Okay. Alright. After knowing it's a distance time graph, now we have to read the soalan. Okay, there's two graph here. I can see it already. So mesti ada dua story. Yeah, there mesti ada dua story. Okay. So we have to read carefully and see which one, which story is which one. Okay, diagram 6 shows the distance time graph for the journey of bus and a car. Yeah, so now it makes sense. There's two kenderaan, one for bus, one for car. Graph OJKL represents the journey of car from Banting to Tanjung Karang. Yeah, you should label this. OJKL is this graph. And they say this is for the car. So I will put an arrow here and write car. And not only that, I will also highlight, yeah, because they got mentioned about the location. So remember, for distance time graph, you can always label, you can always highlight like this for distance time graph. And after highlight it like this, you can write the location. Okay, this one OJKL is from Banting to Tanjung Karang. So you can see the car punya graph, it starts here. So this one is Banting lah. Banting. And then this one is Tanjung Karang. Okay, I'll just write short form lah, TK. Okay, TK. Okay. Okay, then that means the other graph is automatic for bus lah. But if you look at the bus dia start dekat Tanjung Karang. That means satu kereta dia pergi from Banting to Tanjung Karang, but the other one is from Tanjung Karang to Banting. It means they are actually moving at not they are not moving at the same direction. They are moving in the opposite direction. Okay. So if we sambung baca sini, graph PKQ represents journey of bus from Tanjung Karang to Banting. Yeah, just like what I said lah. PKQ is the journey for bus from Tanjung Karang to Banting. Okay. But you can see they both start at the same time. Yeah, they start at the same time, just different location lah. They start at different location, and then yeah, they move. Okay, for the car, dia ada move. Okay, yeah, if the line is going up like this, means the car is moving. Yeah, it's moving, it's traveling, and then what happens here? Okay, here means the car actually stops moving because the distance never changed here. Yeah, the distance stops at 36 km for this long. That means the car actually stops, and then here is continue moving lah. Okay, then what about the bus? Okay, the bus is just moving. Yeah, just moving lah. It never stops. Okay, and you can see there is an intersection point here. That intersection point will be the point where the car and the bus meet. Yeah, that's when the car and the bus meet. Okay, okay. After understanding the whole story, now we can finally do the soalan. So A1, calculate the rate of change of distance, means speed lah. Okay, let's talk about this. Rate of change of distance means distance over time. Yeah, whenever you see rate means dia nak awak bahagi time, bahagi masa. So kalau saya cakap rate of change of distance means dia nak cari distance bahagi time. And what is distance bahagi time? Speed lah. So what if I say rate of change of speed? That means it's speed bahagi time, which is acceleration. Rokos kan, rate of change of speed is acceleration. Okay, but this one they're asking for rate of change of distance, so they're actually asking for speed. And look at the unit, they want kilometer per hour of the bus for the first 30 minutes. So we have to focus on the bus punya garisan and we have to find the speed. Okay. Okay, speed punya formula is distance over time. If you look at the y-axis, distance, x-axis, time. So you're finding the gradient basically. Yeah, finding the gradient. Use gradient because that's how you find speed. Using distance time graph, that's how you find speed. You just find the gradient. Okay, because gradient formula is y minus y over x minus x. So you just take it, yeah, you're finding distance over time, which is speed. Okay, but they want for the car, for the bus, and it's for the first 30 minutes. Okay, this one they write in hours, right? In hours. So 30 minutes is how many hours? You bahagi with 60 and you get 0.5 hours. So let's cari 0.5, it's here, right? But they want for bus. So for bus is this one. So what we have to do is find the gradient of this line. Okay, find the gradient of this line. But I will tell you something. If you find the gradient of this line, you should get the same gradient. Because PKQ you can see it's a straight line, it's a collinear. Collinear means segaris. So kalau dia segaris keturunan sini dengan keturunan sini, gradient sini mesti sama. Mesti sama. Okay. What if you find the gradient for P to Q? It will be the same also. Yeah, because the gradient is the same line. So automatic they will have the same gradient lah. Okay. So let's try to find out the gradient now to get the speed. Okay, I think I will just use this point and this 2 point. Yeah, when finding gradient, you need 2 points. So this point is 0.81. Okay, this point you don't go and write 30, 36. Yeah, maybe some of you made that careless mistake because they want 30 minutes, right? Okay, why cannot write 30, 36? Okay, imagine if you write 30, 36, you will do y minus y, 81 minus 36 over 0 minus 30. But why is it wrong? Because 81 minus 36 is in km, right? 81 is in km. But if you do 0 minus 30, it will be in minutes. So later, your speed will come out in kilometer per minute. Then it's wrong already because the soalan 1 in kilometer per hour. That is why you have to write 0.5 here. Okay, so 81 minus 36 over 0 minus 0.5. So imagine, remember, during the exam, when you're doing this graph of motion soalan, check the unit. Check the unit. Yeah, sometimes students forget to check the unit. So I hope you remember to check the unit. So let's do this, and what you get? Negative 90. negative 90. So if the gradient is negative 90, that means the speed will be 90. Okay, so the speed, okay, let's not use the word speed because they want rate of change of distance, right? So let's follow the exact word they use here. So rate of change of distance ataupun in distance. So it will be negative 90 or 90? 90, and then kilometer per hour. Okay, the negative jangan tulis, Ya, speed tak ada negative. Gradient boleh ada negative, tapi speed tak ada negative. So the speed is just 90. Let me tell you why you get negative. It's because the line is moving down. That means it's moving in the opposite direction. Tapi gradient saja boleh ada negative. Speed, bila kita tulis speed, we will not write the negative. Okay? Yeah. Alright, hope you understand. Let's do number 2. Okay, number 2 wants you to find value of t. Okay, when you finding value of t, do you think you will use the bus punya journey to find or the car punya journey? Mestilah bus punya. Car punya tak dekat T is like, yeah, you understand, right? Ya, takkanlah you guna car punya journey to find T. Mesti you guna bus punya journey to find T. Tapi nak guna apa? Gradient lah. Yeah, guna gradient. Remember I told you just now, the gradient for PK and the gradient of KQ will give you the same answer. And why they have the same answer? Because they are collinear. Collinear means they are segaris. So bila dia from the same garisan, apabila dia from the same garis, that means dia punya keturunan mesti sama. So what you can do is find the gradient for KQ. Find the gradient of KQ. And when you finding gradient of KQ, you tak ada nilai T nanti, tapi tak apa. Sebab jawapan dia akan sama dengan negative 90 nanti. Yeah. Okay. So let's write down the 2 points that we will be using. First is T0. And make sure you know that the T is already in hours. So you don't go and do like, oh sir, T darab 60 T. Don't lah. It's already in hours. Yeah, you want to find the speed in kilometer per hour. So tak payah darab 60 dah. And then this one is 0.536. And same thing, the 0.5 is already in hours. 36 is already in km. So this is already perfect. Tak payah convert unit dah. So sekarang kita buat gradient. Y minus Y, 0 minus 36 over dengan T tolak 0.5. So you get negative 36 over T minus 0.5. Now, yang ini you dah tak boleh buat dah sebab tak tahu nilai T. Tapi yang ini boleh sama dengan apa? Sama dengan negative 90 ataupun sama dengan 90. Yang mana? Negative 90 atau sama dengan 90? Okay, sama dengan negative 90. Because this, the gradient mesti sama dengan negative 90. Kalau you buat ini sama dengan 90 salah. 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 You have to do this thing equals to negative 90. Okay? Yeah, not 90. Yeah, the gradient for this line will be negative also because it's going down. So what you have to do? Negative 36 over T minus 0.5 terus equals to negative 90. And the reason you can do that is because, yeah, these two lines have the same gradient. It means the bus actually travels at a constant speed for the whole journey. Yeah, it's moving 90 km per hour all the way until the end, until the destination. Okay, negative dengan negative boleh potong sebenarnya. Sebab bila pindah negative, positive. So left with this one. So you can, ini hantar atas lah. Alright, so dia akan jadi 90 darab T, 90T. And then the minus 90 times 0.5, 45. Okay. And then the 36 is still here. Okay. And these two negatives sudah hilang. Okay, sudah hilang. Alright, sekarang nak cari T. So pindah je lah. Alright, nak cari T, so T kena single. So minus 45 pindah sana. 36 plus 45, 81. So your T is 81 bahagi 90. So tekan kereta, dapatlah jawapan. Okay, maka give me 0.9. So that should be the answer, 0.9. And it's in hours, right? So I think I'll write the unit also. So logic kan? Ini 0.9 hours. Yeah, logic kan? Between 0.5 and 1.2. So yeah, that's the answer. Okay, let's do B1. So B1 dia nak cari speed. So use gradient again lah. Yes, memang because this is distance time graph. Kalau distance time graph nak cari speed memang guna kecurangan, cari gradient. But this time they want for the car and they want for the last 0.7 hour and the unit is kilometer per hour. Okay, so first is I will write gradient and then we need two coordinates to find gradient. So let's go look for it. So dia nak untuk car but for the last 0.7 hour. Okay, car is this one. Last 0.7 hour. Okay, 1.2 is the final hour. So saya kena tolak dengan 0.7. So if I tolak 0.7, I dapat berapa? I dapat 0.5 kan? So that means they want this part of they want you to use this part of the graph. Tapi for creator, for creator. So that means I'm finding the gradient of this line lah. Tapi saya kena ada coordinate ni dengan coordinate ni lah. Okay, the first coordinate is 0.536. 0.536. And make sure you know that the 0.5 is already in hours. And 36 is also in kilometer. Which is good lah. Which is the unit I want. And then the other point is 1.281. And the unit is already in kilometer and in hours and kilometer. 1.281. Okay. So with that, we can find the gradient. 81 minus 36 over 1.2 minus 0.5. So tekan saja, dapatlah jawapan. Okay. Alright, you have to wait for me a bit. Okay, my calculator give me 45007. Alright, kalau you tulis dalam decimal, dia bagi banyak decimal place kan. So kalau untuk macam ni kalau jawapan yang macam ni, kalau saya akan just write fraction. Yeah, because if you write in fraction, then your teacher cannot argue with you, right? Yeah, because if you write in decimal, it's like, yes. But if you write decimal, can also lah. Can also. Dalam SPM, usually they are not that strict. Yeah. Okay, so this is your gradient, but you should write one more line. Speed equals 450/7, and this time write the unit. Yeah, write the unit, kilometer per hour. Okay. Yeah. Kalau saya akan tulis saya punya working macam ni. Okay, next one. Describe motion of the car from K to L. Okay, describe means you have to huraikan. Huraikan means you have to write a sentence. An English sentence or a Malay sentence. Okay, I usually use English. Okay, I use English to teach, so I write in English. So the motion of car from K to L. Okay, means this one lah, the one that I just find lah. Yeah, remember just now I find out the speed. This speed is actually the speed of the car from K to L. So I can mention this later when I describe. I can mention about the speed here. Okay, so I'll just write here the car, and the car is actually moving, right? Yeah, so you can say moving, but the more you can write travel also can. So I'll just write move lah. So the car moves. Okay, you can mention about the distance and the time because this is a distance time graph. So you can mention how long. I mean how far. Yeah, how far is the distance and how long is the time taken, right? So how far is the distance? 81 minus 36, which gives you, I don't know, 81 minus 36, 45. So you can write the car moves 45 km. Moves, how, okay, moves 45 km. For how long? For how long? For how long? 1.2 minus 0.5, which is 0.7 hours. So for 0.7 hours. And then mention the speed with speed of 450/7 kilometer per hour. And this speed actually comes from ini bahagi ni. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Kalau you describe macam ni, is good enough already. Okay. Okay, what if you want to cakap dalam bahasa Melayu? Boleh juga. So you can write kereta bergerak sejauh 45 km selama 0.7 jam dengan laju 450/7 macam ni lah. Yeah, same thing. You can write. Doesn't matter. Like depends on which one you prefer lah, English or Malay. Okay. Okay, that's all for 11. Okay, let's do question number 12. This is a transformation question, very obvious. So from chapter 5. Okay, the transformasi punya bab. Okay, diagram 7 shows three quadrilateral EFGH, RSTU, KLMN drawn on the Cartesian band. So EFGH is this one, the small one. RSTU is this one, also the small one. KLMN is the big one. Okay, confirm later they will tell you siapa object, siapa image, and then confirm they will ask you to describe. Ya, memang confirm mesti kan. Ya. Kalau dia sudah lukis semua objek and semua image for you mesti dia akan suruh awak describe, uraikan. And then you have to write whether it's a reflection or rotation or enlargement. Macam tu kan. Okay, so let's scroll down and see whether I'm right. Okay, okay, number 1 dia tak suruh describe dulu. Number 2 baru dia suruh describe, right? Okay, number 1 they actually ask you to state the coordinate of image of point J. Means J is object lah. Kalau dia suruh cari image of J, means J is object. under reflection in the line y equals 6. Okay, first step is drawing the line y equals 6 first. So pergi y, cari 6, draw horizontal line. This is y equals 6. Lepas tu buat pantulan tapi dia nak guna J sebagai object. So J is 8, 3. So J is 8, 3. And then I will just draw an arrow like this and then write the answer here. Yeah, this is the real way. I mean the way I recommend to write it in the exam. Yeah, write it like this. Okay. So J, okay, what is the image? All right. So when we do reflection, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So it'll be 8, 9. So that's the answer. So that's all. Okay. Okay. Now for 2, I know mesti dia suruh describe. Yup. So question number 2. KLMN is the image of EFGH under combined transformation PQ. It means KLMN is the final image, the I2, and then EFGH is the object. That means this one is the I1. Okay. And if they say combined transformation PQ means buat Q dulu baru buat P. Okay. And I always teach my student to write the arrow. Yeah, to write the arrow. So first you start with EFGH. And then the I1 first image is RSTU. And then the final image KLMN. And then the first arrow is the first transformation Q. And then the second arrow is P lah. Okay, why is it important to write this? Because if you don't write this, you might make the careless mistake of how to say, like for example, maybe the Q you go and write for the P answer. It means the P answer you go and write a Q, and then the Q answer you write a P. Then it's not good, right? But if you have all this, if you write nicely the arrow, then you will not make that mistake. Okay. Okay, let's try to describe now. So transformation. Okay, they want you to describe transformation Q first. So you have to write transformation Q is, and then blah 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 blah. Okay. And then transformation P is, and then you write blah 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 blah. Okay. Okay, let's describe transformation Q first because Q is the first transformation. So it's from EFGH to RSTU. So it's from this to this. So what do we have to describe? Okay, when we describe, we have to know that whether we have to know which transformation first. Okay, so I know and the easiest one to check is enlargement. So from EFGH to RSTU, is it possible if it's enlargement? No. Okay, no, because the size is the same. Kalau enlargement, the size will be different one. So I know it's not enlargement. So that leaves us with translation, reflection, rotation. So out of these three, translation is the easiest one to check. Yeah, you can usually just check with your eyes whether it's translation or not. Because translation, you just basically just drag the thing left, right, up, down like that. So I'll tell you now, it's not translation because you can see that the only 90-degree corner is at the bottom left. But for this one, the only 90-degree corner is now at the top left. So you can see it's not translation lah, because the orientation of the shape already changed. So that leaves us with reflection and rotation. Okay, these two is the hardest one to determine. Yeah, it's very hard to know whether it's reflect or rotate because reflection can look like rotation sometimes and rotation can look like reflection sometimes. Especially the rotation 90-degree is very difficult to know for sure whether it's reflect or rotate. So what you can do, you can use a method which is you draw the line. Yeah, you draw lines. You join all the line, but you have to make sure you join to the corresponding point. Okay, yeah. So for example, R is the only 90-degree corner, you join with E lah. Join lines. Okay. And after you join all the lines, if all the lines are parallel like that, that means it's a reflection. Okay. Kalau you join small line, all the lines look like this, all the lines are parallel, reflection. But what if all the lines like this, they all intersect at one point? That means this is rotation 180. And this intersection is the center. Yeah, it's the COR. Means the rotation center. Okay. But what if it's not these two case? Then it's rotation 90 lah. And for rotation 90, you have to find the center of rotation 90, you have to do the perpendicular bisector. Okay. You can either use the ruler method or you can use the compass method. Okay. Okay, but now let's try to join all the lines first. Okay. All right. So R to E. Okay, the S you will join to F, right? Not H, because you can see R E and then R to S dua kotak. So it has to be F because F to E also dua kotak. Okay. Okay, the next line will be T with G. Yeah, this one very straightforward. And then U mesti with H. Okay, after joining all the lines, I can see that it's not reflection because the lines are not parallel. And then it's not rotation 180 also because rotation 180, all the lines will intersect at one point. Okay, this one there is some intersection here, but bukan semua line yang intersect sini. Ada line yang tak ada intersect sini. So definitely not rotation 180. So confirm is rotation 90. So we can know already it's rotation 90 degree. But when you describe rotation, you cannot just write rotation and then stop there. No. For rotation, you have to write the isi penting. So what is the isi penting for rotation? You have to write three things. You have to write the angle, whether it's 90 degree or 180 degree, and then you have to write clockwise or anti-clockwise, and also you have to write about the center. So I have to write rotation 90, and then I have to write clockwise or anti-clockwise, and then about center, and then we have to mention about the center rotation here. So my job now is to find out the center and also find out whether it's clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. Okay. How to find out the center of rotation? Okay, for rotation 90, you can use compass and then draw two perpendicular bisector, right? But I will show you the method yang tak guna compass. Okay. So the method is like this. Out of all these lines, you draw, choose two lines that are not parallel. Choose two lines that are not parallel and then do perpendicular bisector for these two lines. Yeah. So out of all these lines, which two lines is not parallel? Okay, you can see these two lines, they are almost parallel. So it's not a good idea to choose these two lines, right? So if I'm you, I will throw away this line. Okay. And also this line also I will throw away because these two lines almost parallel. So I end up with these two lines that are not parallel. You can see these two lines are clearly not parallel, right? So now what I will do, I will do perpendicular bisector. But I will not use the compass method. I will just show you using the ruler method. So what is perpendicular bisector? Perpendicular bisector basically means you have to go to the midpoint of this line and then draw a 90-degree line. Okay. But if you're using compass, it will be more accurate because you will just cucuk here, lukis atas, lukis bawah, cucuk here, lukis atas, lukis bawah, and then just join lah. Okay, but I cannot show you because I'm using the laptop. So what I will do is I can use the ruler also. So first of all, we have to find out the midpoint. So how to find out the midpoint? All right, we can find out the distance between here and here, right? Because this is a second line. So the midpoint, you can find out the distance here and the distance here. So the distance here is 2 kotak, the distance here is 4 kotak. So if I want to find the midpoint, do you agree I have to divide by 2? So the 2 kotak, when you divide by 2, left is the middle is here. And then the 4 kotak divide by 2, the middle is here. So the midpoint will be here lah. Yeah, that's the midpoint of this line. And after you find out the midpoint, now the tricky part is to draw a 90-degree line here, right? So if you're using ruler, very easy. Just place your ruler like this. Yeah, place the corner of the ruler on the point like this. Because the corner of the ruler will be 90-degree, right? So just place your ruler like this and then put your pencil here and then just draw until you reach here and then move your ruler down and then extend the line like that. Okay. Okay, now I will draw nicely. And I will purposely use a different color. I will use maybe green color. Yeah. Okay, so it will be like this, but to make sure it's exactly 90-degree, you will use a ruler to help you, and then you will just join like that. So it's 1, 2. So I think it's like that. No, like that. No, like that. Yeah, like that. Wait, let me double check. Okay. I have to be accurate because it will affect my answer later. So 2, 1. 1, 2. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. Yeah, that's 90-degree, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, like, yeah. Okay, you get something like that. Yeah, if you follow my steps, you will get this as your perpendicular bisector. Okay. So go to the midpoint and then draw a 90-degree line. Okay. Okay, now repeat the same process for the other line. For the other line. And then the intersection of the two perpendicular bisector would be your center lah. Okay, let's use the same method. We have to find out the midpoint first. Alright. So how do you find the midpoint? Okay, just look at the line, find out the distance, and then bahagi dua lah. Alright, so you can see the horizontal distance here is satu kotak. Okay, one kotak. And then the vertical you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god. So sini 7 kotak, sini satu kotak. So imagine finding half of it. 7 satu kan, bahagi 2, bahagi 2. So you get 3.5 here and you get 0.5 here. That means the midpoint is at 0.5, which is here. And then naik 3, 3.5. So 1, 2, 3.5. So it's around here. Okay. If you're not confident, you can kira dari atas also. 0.5 and then turun 3.5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So this is the exact midpoint location. Yeah, around here. Okay. Now draw a 90-degree line from there. And the method I will use also same like this now lah. Just place your ruler like this, because the corner of the ruler is 90 degree, and then just put your pencil here and then draw, and then your ruler move down, and then sambung the line, and believe me, they will intersect somewhere, and then that's the center lah. All right, so let's do it now. Okay, you get something like this, but make sure it's 90 degree. Okay, okay, it's very hard. It's quite hard for me to show you, but I'll try my best. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Okay, yeah, you get something like that, I guess. Yeah, make sure you use your ruler lah in the exam. Or you can bring compass also. Yeah, you can bring compass to the exam also. Yeah, compass can help you also. All right. After drawing that, now it's time to find out the center of rotation. So you can see it's this one. Not this one, guys. Ini semua bukan, you have to choose the intersection between the two perpendicular bisector, not this. Okay. Yeah. Uh, if you do it using pencil, it will be hard for you to see, because I'm using different color. That's why it's very obvious. But if you're using pencil the whole way, you might, how to say, make the careless mistake of choosing the wrong point. Like for example, you might choose this one. But remember, it's the perpendicular bisector punya silangan. So it's this one. So it's 8, 12 lah. So now you know the center. Now it's time to write down okay, we have to write down clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? Okay, when you know the center, you can draw a cross at the center, draw a cross like that. And then you just look at the object and image. It's going this way, right? So it's clockwise lah, because this direction is ikut arah jam. Yeah. So kalau saya memang buat cara macam ni. I always cari the center dulu, and then pergi center, lukis cross to find out whether it's clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, this one is clockwise. Okay, if you write like that, you get full mark. Okay, now for transformation P, okay, transformation P is from RSTU to KLMN, which is I1 to I2 lah. Okay, this one is enlargement. You don't have to think. It's very obviously enlargement because the size sudah tak sama. And enlargement confirm lah. Enlargement is the only transformation yang akan menyebabkan size awak tukar. So it's enlargement, and you cannot stop here. Kalau nak dapat full mark, you have to mention the isi-isi penting. For enlargement, bila describe enlargement, you have to mention the center and the scale factor. So I write enlargement at center blah blah blah. Lepas tu with scale factor blah blah blah. So kena cari center dengan scale factor. Okay, center will be the pusat pembesaran. So how to find center of enlargement? Very simple. Just draw lines. You don't need compass for this. Okay, so N garis dengan U, K garis dengan R, and you can see the center already. Yeah. And then L center garis dengan S. Yeah, it's here, right? Yeah. So you can see it's here. So the center enlargement is 13, 6. So that's how you find center of enlargement. And then the scale factor, okay, scale factor ada satu formula. Length of image bagi length of object. And in this case, I2 will be the image, and then I1 will be the object. Okay, you can choose any side you want. Okay, let's choose this side and this side. So sini ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bahagi dengan dia punya panjang sepadan, the corresponding side here, 2. So you get scale factor 3 lah. Okay, okay, 6 is 6 divide 2, not 2 divide 6. 6 divide 2. Okay. But if your image getting smaller, then you might take two. Maybe you will take 2 divide 6. Okay, but this one is 6 divide 2. Okay, one more thing you have to double check. Okay, this thing a lot of students always forget one. So I want you to double check whether your scale factor need to letak negative or not. Okay, yeah, I want you to have this habit. Check whether the scale factor kena letak negative or not. So this question tak payah lah. Okay, but let me tell you bila masa kena letak negative. Okay, you have to letak negative when your object and image is on the opposite side from the center. It means if the center is here, but the object and image is on the opposite side like that, then you have to start negative. And also, kalau you punya scale factor negative, the object and image will be inverted. It will be inverted. Basically, it means it will be upside down one. Yeah. Before enlarge and after enlarge, dua-dua bentuk tu will be completely inverted. Yeah, it will be upside down lah. Tapi ini, the object and image both on the same side from the center, and also dia tak ada upside down. That's why it's positive. But you have to double check. Ya, ada soalan yang susah yang kena letak negatif. Okay, hope you get it. Okay, that's all for my second question. What else? Okay, B. Alright, usually after they ask you to do this, the next part they will ask you to find the area one. They will ask about the area. But this paper, they decide to change a bit, right? They never ask area. Okay, what it says here, diagram A shows a triangle PQR. Okay, saya boleh nampak. It is given that another triangle KLM has the same shape and same size as the triangle PQR. It means it's congruent lah. It means I draw another triangle. That is exactly same shape and same size with this, and it's called KLM. Okay, but I don't know how to label the KLM. Okay, let's not label first. Label and state the triangle congruence rule used to determine if both triangles are congruent if PQR equals to KLM, PRQ equals KML, QR equals LM. Okay, let's scroll down and see. Okay, yeah, they actually draw it for us already. Okay, and they also label the KLM for us, so that's good. So we just have to find out which angle is same. So PQR is KLM, so this angle and this angle is equal, and then PRQ KML. PRQ is this angle. Let's use 2 lines this time, and then KML also I'll use 2 lines. Okay, and then QR equals LM. This one I'll just use like that to show that they are same length, and LM which is like this. Okay, so they ask us to label and state the triangle congruence rule. Okay, this triangle congruence rule is called the ASA, but I recommend writing the full, the full one lah. So angle, side, angle. Okay, you learn this in the same chapter lah, Form 5 chapter 5. So you learn about the triangle congruency, the property of triangle congruency, and you learn about all the congruence rule, and you learn that to know that two triangles are congruent, sometimes when you have 3 informations yang sama, you can know they are congruent already. So this is one of it, the angle, side angle. Okay, because the side is in between the 2 angle, and when you have 2 angle and 1 side in between that is equal for the true triangle, automatic means these 2 triangle will be congruent. Okay, so yeah, that's all. So this is only worth 2 marks, so nothing much. All right, that's all. Okay, let's do number 13. Okay, this one is fire insurance. So for fire insurance question, I need to give you the notes for the fire insurance. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the notes now. Okay, all right, I'll just write it here lah. So for fire insurance ataupun property insurance, okay, sometimes they call it property insurance, but it's the same thing. So the notes, all right, first thing first, you have to get your required. Ya, you kena cari you punya amount of required. Dalam bahasa Melayu is jumlah yang harus dibeli. And the formula, ambil co-insurance percentage darab dengan insurable value. Remember, for fire insurance question, always kena cari ni dulu. Always kena guna formula ni dulu. Always. Mesti start dengan formula ni. Confirm. Lepas awak cari you punya required, you have to check whether it's case 1, case 2 or case 3. Okay, what is case 1? Case 1 is when your insured value is equal to your required value. Insured means the purchased. Yang awak beli. Okay. So if case 1 yang you beli sama dengan required, then the compensation formula very simple. Just take the loss minus deductible. Itu kalau case 1. Okay. Kalau case 1 insured sama dengan required, you just buat macam ni untuk cari compensation. What if dia case 2? Okay, case 2 is when you punya insured means the purchased amount is less than the required amount. Maksudnya jumlah yang awak beli tu kurang daripada jumlah yang harus beli. So that means you punya compensation jadi kurang lah sebab you beli kurang lah. So your compensation will be less. And the formula will be like this. Purchased over required darab dengan loss minus deductible. Ataupun you boleh cakap nombor yang kecil tulis atas, nombor besar tulis bawah. Ya, sebab you purchase means beli. So beli, you beli sikit kan. So yang sikit tulis atas. And then over required darab loss. Find the compensation. Tapi untuk case tu, dia akan ada co-insurance penalty. Okay, dia akan ada co-insurance penalty. What is penalty? It's like a punishment, right? Like hukuman. Kenapa ada hukuman? Sebab you beli less than the required. So there will be penalty. And the penalty formula, you kena ambil required minus purchased over required darab dengan loss. Okay. And selalu kalau saya ajar saya punya student, I will tell them, basically what you're doing is taking the other side of the fraction. Ya, contoh, kalau ini 2/5. Maksudnya yang required 5 portion, tapi you purchase 2 portion saja. So what is the penalty? 3/5 lah. Sebab you ambil required minus purchase, 5 minus 2, which is 3/5. So basically you are just taking the other side of the fraction. Ya. Yalah, sebab you beli 2 kan. So yang penalty tu 3 tu lah. That's the penalty. Okay, so that's how you do it. Okay, tapi ini penalty jarang tanya dalam exam. Jarang lah. Tapi bila dia tanya, mesti banyak yang tak boleh buat. Because a lot of students, they will skip over this part. They will forget about this. Okay, so make sure you know how to do this also. Okay, and let's see this question. You see, this question they got asked for penalty. Okay, let's talk about case 3, which is the last case. Okay, case 3 is when you suffer total loss. Suffer total loss. Dalam bahasa Melayu, kerugian menyeluruh. Kerugian menyeluruh. Okay, kalau you ada mengalami kerugian menyeluruh, you punya compensation akan jadi insurance purchase minus deductible. That's all. Okay. It means you sangat kesian lah. Because your whole house burn down already. So rugi tu bukan rugi sebahagian rumah saja. Menyeluruh, kerugian menyeluruh. So kalau macam ni you dah sangat kesian dah. So kalau you sangat kesian, kita tak tengok dah whether you punya insured sama dengan required or less than required. Kita just ambil insurance purchase at that point in time minus with deductible. That's it. Okay, these are the notes that you have to know kalau nak jawab fire insurance. Okay, I don't care what question you do. As long as you are doing fire insurance, you need to know this. If you don't know this, you can't do. Yeah, you can't do fire insurance soalan. Okay, now we will apply this in our question. Encik Han wants to buy fire insurance for his house. The insurable value of the house is 520,000. All right. The fire insurance policy he wants to buy is insure 90% of insurable value and the deductible is 4,000. Calculate the amount of insurance required by Encik Han. Cari yang harus dibeli. Okay, even if the soalan tak suruh cari required, saya kena cari juga. Because if you tak cari required, you cannot find out whether it's case 1, case 2, case 3, then you cannot find the compensation already. Okay, so even if the question never say also, you kena cari juga. Okay, but this question ada suruh cari lah. So how to find? 520,000 darab dengan 90%. Okay, yang 4,000 tu you jangan tolak dulu guys. I see one student, they go and take this one tolak dengan 4,000 and then baru darab dengan 90%. Itu medical insurance lah. Kalau medical baru you tolak dulu. If on medical, then you will tolak dengan deductible, then baru darab dengan percentage, right? Tapi itu medical insurance. Don't mix them up. Medical dia punya step lain dengan fire insurance. So please don't make that mistake. So this is the correct way. You darab saja. Okay. Alright. My calculator give me RM 468,000. Macam tu. Alright. So for B1, Encik Han's house caught on fire and the loss rugi is 150k. This is the rugi. Calculate the amount of compensation that Encik Han will receive if he insure his house at the amount of required. Maksudnya dia beli, insure means beli at the amount of required. So tell me, it's case 1 lah. And kalau case 1, macam mana nak cari dia punya amount of compensation? Ambil loss minus deductible, 150,000 minus deductible 4,000. And you tekan this, you get RM 146,000. Okay, you nak tahu tak kenapa bila saya buat dia nampak macam sangat senang? You know why? Why it looks so easy when I do it? It's because I have all this in my head. I have all this in my head. So that's why it looks so easy when I do it. Okay. But if you find this difficult, it's because it's because maybe you don't remember all the case lah. But once you remember all these things, it will be very easy for you. Yeah, all the fire insurance question for you is like very simple one. Okay. And banyak markah tau soalan ni. 1 plus 2, 3 marks, 7, 9 marks. Yeah, for one question like that. Okay, let's do 2. If he insure his house at a sum of 400,000, but the required is 468,000. Tapi dia beli 400,000. So this one is definitely case 2. Case 2 because your insured value is less than the required. You purchase less than the required amount. And then they say calculate co-insurance penalty. Okay, so nak cari dua benda. First nak cari compensation kalau dia beli 400,000 and then lepas tu nak cari penalty. Okay. Alright, I think I need space for this, so I will do it here. So this is B2 B2. Okay, first nak cari compensation dulu. So the compensation formula, kalau case 2 you have to take purchase over required. So dia purchase kurang, lebih kurang kan 400,000. Tapi required is 468,000. So you kena buat macam ni. Purchase over required darab dengan loss, 150,000 is still the loss, and then minus deductible 4,000. Okay, alright. So potong, and then 400 bahagi 468 darab 150,000 minus 4,000. Okay, my calculator give me 124,205. Okay, let's write RM 124,205. Okay, let's write 2 decimal place. Sebab ni RM kan. RM mesti 2 decimal place. So 0.1282. So 13 lah. Okay. Okay, tapi belum siap lagi. This is only the compensation. Lepas tu dia kata hence calculate co-insurance penalty. Okay, for co-insurance penalty, you can use the formula I write just now. Okay, when you're finding penalty, basically you're just taking the other side of the fraction. Ya, yalah sebab you required ini, tapi you beli ni kan. So yang you kurang bayar berapa? The 68,000 lah. So that's the penalty lah. That's the hukuman. Okay. So 68,000 over 468,000 darab dengan loss 150,000. And macam mana datang 68,000? Ini tolak ni. Ya, 468k minus 400k dapatlah 68,000. Okay. Yalah, the formula is like that mah. See? Required minus purchased. Okay. Okay, so sekarang tekan ni. Okay, potong. 68 darab 150,000 bahagi 468. Okay, 21794. RM 21794. Okay, dia bagi banyak decimal place, tapi kita tulis 2 saja sebab RM. So 0.87. Okay. Alright, that's how you do the B2. Okay. So all this is the B2 punya working. Okay, this one. Okay, B2. Yeah, I don't have enough space, that's why I write like right here. Okay. Okay, so sudah siap B1, B2. Okay, sekarang boleh buat C dah. Alright, C. Encik Hans' house suffered a total loss. Case 3 lah ini. Suffer total loss. You see the keyword. Mengalami kerugian menyeluruh. So, case 3. And if he insure his house at a sum of 200,000, means dia beli amount ni. Calculate amount of compensation he will receive. I told you just now kalau case 3, case 3 suffer total loss, macam mana cari compensation? Just take the insurance purchase at that point of time minus deductible. So, 200,000 minus deductible. Okay, minus deductible which is 4,000. Okay. Tak payah ambil 200,000 bahagi dengan 468,000. No. Tak payah. Itu kalau case tu baru kena. Ini kalau dia suffer total loss, you terus tolak deductible macam tu saja. Okay. You don't go and do ini bahagi dengan ini, lepas tu darab dengan loss minus. No. Kalau total loss kita tak buat macam ni. Kalau case 3 kita tak buat macam ni. Kalau case 2 baru kita buat purchase over required darab loss minus deductible. Okay. So make sure you pandai bezakan case. Okay. Ya, pandai baca soalan and then tahu dia case yang mana. Alright, this one is 196,000. But let's write RM. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so ini jalan kira dia. This is the working. Yang bawah ni adalah dia punya nota. So yang ni you tak payah tulis dekat exam But I just give you the notes lah. So that some of you, maybe you want a screenshot or maybe you want a, how to say? You want to remember it now, you want to salin now, you boleh buat. Okay? So this is very important. Okay, yang bawah ni. Okay, it's like a nota. Okay, alright, that's all. Okay, let's do 14. So this one is from 5 chapter 6, the trigonometry chapter. Okay, complete the table in the answer space and sketch a graph y equals 3 cos 2x for x between 0 and 180 degrees. So let's complete the table. And then later need to sketch the y equals 3 cos 2x. Alright, so where's the table? Okay, it's here. So y equals 3 times cos 2x. So I think I have to take the x value here and substitute inside here. Alright, so when you put 0 here, 2 times 0 is 0. Cos 0 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, you can use your calculator to help you. Okay, now we have to sub 45. 45 times 2 is 90. Cos 90 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Okay, alright, now what about 90? Okay, 90 times 2 is 180. Cos 180 is negative 1. Okay, and then times 3 is negative 3. Okay, alright, next one is 135 times 2 is 270. Cos 270, 0. And then 0 times 3 is 0 also. Okay, last one is 180 times 2 is 360. Cos 360 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, alright, after having completed the table, now we have to sketch the graph. Alright, I remember the soalan says sketch from 0 until 180 only. So we will only sketch until 180. We will not sketch until 360. Okay, but before we sketch, let's talk about the shape first. So the equation is 3 cos 2x. So we need to know the shape first. Okay, alright, first we have to look at this cos 2x. So for cos graph, it will look like this. Okay, but if it's 2x, you have to draw 2 cos graph in 360. Okay, but since they only asked you to draw until 180, that means only half of it will be there. Yeah, only half of it will be there later. Okay, and then here will be 0, 1, negative 1. But they got put 3 here, that means the amplitude has to be 3, negative 3. Okay, so this is how it will look like later. Alright, now we already know the shape and we already have all the points. Now we can just straight away sketch. Okay, they already provide me with the square grid, so we can just sketch here. Okay, they never give me any scala, right? They never give me any scala, but we can make our own scala. So for the y-axis, you can see got 0, 3, negative 3. So you can go like 1, 2, 3 like that. Okay, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and you can see it's enough space. And then for here, I think you can go 45 here, and then 90 here, and then 135 here, 180 here. Yeah, try to use up most of the space lah. Okay, okay. After having all this, now we can plot the point. 0, 3, that's the first point. 45, 0 is here. 90, negative 3, that's gonna be here. 1350 is here. 183 is here. Okay, and don't forget, you have to make sure you connect with the correct shape also. You have to make sure the shape is like the cos graph punya shape. Okay, so it has to be like a cos graph lah. So you use freehand to join it. So it will look something like this. Yeah, this is good enough. So now you write the equation y equals 3 cos 2x. Okay, so this is your part A finished. Now B, state the period for trigonometric function y equals tangent 3x minus 1. Okay, alright, you have to know what is period. If you don't know what's period, you cannot answer this question. So what is the meaning of period? Okay, period is the horizontal distance for one cycle. Okay, horizontal distance for one cycle. So example, let's say I want to find out the period for the 3 cos 2x. What will you do? So just find out the horizontal distance for one cycle, and this is one cycle, right? Yeah, for the cos graph, this is one full cycle. So the period will be 180. Okay, so let me give you the notes here. So for sine graph, like that is one cycle, right? One cycle. Like this is one cycle. So the period will be whatever's written here. If I write 360 here, that means the period is 360. If it's 180 here, that means the period is 180. Okay. So the formula to find period is actually 360 over B. Okay, 360 over B. And what do I mean by B? Okay, because when you write the sine graph, it will always write in this form, right? The function y equals a sine bx plus c. So let's say this b is 1. That means sine 1x. That means you will draw one cycle in 360. But if this is sine 2x, you will draw two cycle in 360. Then for the period, you have to take 360 divide 2 lah, to get 180 here. That's what it means lah. Okay. Okay, now what about for cos graph? Okay, for cos graph, one cycle is from here to here. Because this is where you complete one full cycle. Okay, if you go further, you will just repeat whatever's, yeah, you just start repeating. That's why this is considered one cycle. And the formula to find period is the same, 360 divide b. And the reason for that is very simple lah, because yeah, it depends on the b value here. Okay, but for this, it will write in this form, a cos bx plus c. So we just take 360 divided by b, then we would know what's the period. Okay, yeah, because the b is like telling you how many cycle you have to draw in 360. So if you take 360 divide with the b value, you automatically get period, which is the horizontal distance for one cycle lah. Okay, now for tangent, it gets tricky. Okay, so for tangent, you cannot take 360 divide b, you have to take 180 divide b. And there is a reason, I'll tell you now. Okay, tangent graph looks like this, right? But the period is not this value here. Yeah, because for tangent graph, the one cycle is from here until here only. Yeah, it's until here only. Okay, this is considered one cycle. So the period will be 180 divided by b. Okay, so let me explain why for tangent graph the one cycle is until here. Because you can see the first part of the graph goes up like that, and then the second part of the graph goes down, right? But did you realize after this point, this is exactly repeat what you do at first here. You see? And then this one is also just basically this one repeat again. So that means one cycle this is already one cycle already. Okay. In other words, if your b is 1 right here, let's say it's tangent 1x right here, the period is actually 180. Yeah, because if the b is 1, the period will be 180 divided 1, which is 180. So yeah, that means this is the period. This is considered one cycle. Okay. Yeah. So now we have all these notes already. Now we can answer the question. They want the period for tangent 3x minus 1, right? So what you do? For tangent, just take 180 divided by b. So the period will be 180 divided by 3. So it will be 60 degrees. Because tangent 3x minus 1, that means the b is 3. So 180 divided 3. Okay. Okay, now imagine if I use the same method to find out the period for this, for the 3 cos 2x. So just take 360 divided by b. So 360 divided by 2, you get 180. That's why you can see from the graph, one cycle finished at 180. So the period is 180. Okay. All right. So hope you understand. And make sure you remember this. Okay. Make sure you remember how to find period for sine, cos, tangent graph. Okay. All right. Now we can do the C. Diagram 9 shows a graph of y equals a sine bx plus c for 0 until 180. Okay. I can see it here. State the value of a, b, c from the graph. So they need to find a and then b and then c. Okay. The a value will usually be the amplitude. Okay. The a value is the amplitude. Okay. But you cannot write 2. Yeah. You cannot just write 2 like no. Okay. And you also cannot write 4. Cannot. Why? Because if the amplitude is 2, then here will be 2, here will be negative 2. That's why you cannot write 2. Okay. If your a is 2, that means here is 2, and then the minimum value will be negative 2. But now it's 2, negative 4. Then what if I write 4? Wrong also. If you write 4, wrong also. Because if you write 4, that means the maximum has to be 4, minimum has to be negative 4. But it's not like that. This one is 2, negative 4. So what you have to do is actually find out the distance from here to here and then divide by 2. Because the amplitude is the distance from the highest point to the center line. And the center line in this case is negative 1. That means later your C will not be 0. Yeah, your C will not be 0 because your graph actually got moved down already. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to our A. So how do you find amplitude? First, okay, there's a formula that I always teach my student. Take maximum minus minimum divided by 2. Yeah, because when you take maximum 2 minus with the minimum negative 4, you get the whole distance here. and dividing by 2, that just gives you half the distance, which is the amplitude. So the 2 plus 4 is 6, divided by 2 is 3 lah. So that's your A answer. Okay. Now for the B, okay, B I just told you just now, remember? Just now when I'm explaining this, I told you, right, what's B? So B represents how many cycle in 360. Yeah, B represents how many cycles in 360. So you can see here, they only drove until 180. But you can see one cycle finish at 180. So B will be 360 divided 180, which is 2. Okay. Yeah, because I told you, right, the period formula will be 360 divided B. So imagine if I want to find B, it will be 360 divided period lah. Yeah, because this one boleh pindah atas jadi darab, yang ni boleh hantar bawah jadi bahagi. So to get the B value, you simply just take 360 divided with period. And in this case, the period is 180. Yeah, because that's yeah, I told you, right, for sine graph, yeah, like this is one cycle. So the period will be here. So the B will be 2. Now for the last part is to write down the C. Okay, the C, you have to look at the A. Yeah, to know the C value, you have to look at the A. So the A is 3, right? So if the A is 3, that means the maximum should be 3 and the minimum should be -3. But since the graph moved down, so that's why now the 3 becomes 2. So 3 how to becomes 2? -1. -3 how to become -4? -1. And it makes sense because uh, before moving down, the graph actually start at 0, but now it becomes -1. Now it starts at -1. So the C is -1. Okay, so I explain one more time. If the A is 3, that means the maximum should be 3, minimum should be -3. Yeah, 3, -3. But why it becomes 2, -4? Because you move down already lah. That's why the 3 becomes 2, -3 becomes -4, and you move down exactly 1 unit. So that's why the C is -1. Okay, all right. So this is how you do the soalan. All right, that's it. Okay, 15. This one looks like measures of dispersion for group data. Yeah, the Form 5 chapter. Okay, let's do it. A total of 30 pupils from 5 brilliant took the mathematics quiz. So the 30 is the total frequency. So if you try to add everything here, you will get 30. Let's try 8 plus 6, 14, 14 plus 9, 23, and 25, 30. Yeah, correct. Okay, so table 3 in the answer space shows an incomplete frequency table for the mathematics quiz course. A, complete the table in the answer space. Okay, this is very easy to complete. So 40 to 49. So what's the next class? Okay, it will be 50. Okay, don't write 49.1, guys. Don't write 49.1 because if you write 49.1, that means you write in one decimal place. So you can see this one dia tak ada decimal. Okay, so actually it's 50 lah. And what you have to do now is find out the difference here. Yeah, find out the difference here so that you can plus the same number here. So 40 how to become 50 plus 10. That means the 49 have to plus 10 also jadi 59. And for this part, I always tell my students, don't tengok side by side macam tu. Jangan tengok kiri kanan. Kalau you tengok kiri kanan, mesti you buat salah. Yeah, you kena tengok atas bawah. Yeah, sini tambah berapa, sini tambah berapa, like that. That's the correct way. Okay. The wrong way is to, how to say, tengok kiri kanan macam ni. If you tengok macam ni, mesti you buat salah one. Yeah, you might go and do 50 plus 10, and then you go and write 60 here, then wrong di. Okay. So it should be atas bawah macam tu. So sini tambah 10, tambah 10, tambah 10, tambah 10. And then the other side also just plus 10, plus 10, plus 10 like that. Okay. All right, now for the midpoint, just take the lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. So you get 44.5, 84.5, 64.5, 74.5, 84.5, 94.5. Okay. Yeah, you can use your calculator to help you. Just tambah bahagi 2. All right, after having all this, now we have finish A. So for B, calculate the mean marks for pupil of 5 brilliant. Okay, to find the mean, you need to know the formula. So this is a group data and it has frequency. So the formula you have to use is this: sum of fx divided with the sum of f. Okay, if your data has frequency lah. But if your data doesn't have frequency, you will just do like that. Yeah, you will just do it like this if the data doesn't have frequency. Okay, but this is a group data and it has frequency, so we'll be doing it like this. So which one is our x and which one is our f? So this is our f, right? But what is our x? This one, the marks, right? But it's a group data, so your x is actually a class. So what you have to do is find out the midpoint to represent the whole class. So I already find the midpoint just now, so this will be my x. Yeah, yeah, because it's a group data, so there's class. So to make sure we use the number to wakil to represent the whole class, we use the midpoint. Okay, so now we can find the mean. Alright, so I will draw a panjang garisan macam tu, and then we'll just do f darab x ataupun x darab f lah, just darab darab darab. So 44.5 times 3 plus 54.5 times 5 plus 64.5 times 6 plus 74.5 times 9 plus 84.5 times 5. Okay, and then plus, okay, I write up here 94.5 times 2. Okay, over with the total frequency, which is 30. So now I will use my calculator, get the jumlah atas, and then write the final answer here. Okay, okay, so I will use my calculator now. 44.5 times 3 plus 54.5 times 5 plus 64.5 times 6 plus 74.5 times 9 plus 84.5 times 5 plus 94.5 times 2. Alright, my calculator give me 2075. So 2075, and then answer divide by 30. That gives me 415/6. Okay, you can write in decimal also, it's 69.17. But since it has a lot of decimal places, so I will just write in fraction lah. 415/6. Yeah, it's better to write in fraction if the answer in decimal ada banyak-banyak number. Yeah, because in decimal is like you have to round off because dia bagi banyak. Yeah, there's a lot of digits after the decimal point. So I just write in fraction. So yeah, that's all. Sudah siap. Okay, now we at C. Okay, this C they actually draw the OGIF. Yeah, because normally they will ask us to draw ourselves. Yeah, normally for this question they will ask us to they will give us the table, and after filling up the table they will ask us to draw ourselves. They might ask for us to draw the histogram or the polygon ataupun the OGIF. Okay, but this question, yeah, in for this state they actually draw the whole OGIF out for us already. Then mesti they will ask us to do something. And for soalan yang bagi OGIF usually they will ask you to cari the Q1, Q2, Q3 one. Yeah, that's what they like to ask in the exam. Okay, dia bagi OGIF, they will ask you to cari Q1, Q2, Q3 from the OGIF. Okay. Alright, so diagram 11 shows an OGIF that represents the marks, right? So yeah, they already draw OGIF, and you have to know something. OGIF, the y-axis is actually the cumulative frequency, and the x-axis is actually the upper boundary. So all these numbers are the upper boundary of the class. So if you check with the table, the upper boundary for the first class is 49.5, right? But they start at 39.5 is because for OGIF, you memang kena start one class before the first class. Yeah, because the first point has to be 0. Yeah, that's why it starts from here. And then these are all the cumulative frequency lah. But you don't have to find out the cumulative frequency yourself because they already draw the whole thing for you. We just have to see what they want here. Based on OGIF, construct a box plot on the diagram 11.1 in the answer space. So yeah, they want to draw box plot. It means you need to find the Q1, Q2, Q3 lah. Yeah, because box plot means, okay, your box plot will look like this later, right? But you need to find the minimum and then the maximum, and then these three lines is the Q1, Q2, Q3. Okay, okay, how to find minimum and maximum? It's very easy. The minimum will just be the first point here, the x coordinate, so 39.5, and then the last point, the x coordinate 99.5. So that's the minimum and maximum. All right, let's see whether they got provide me space. All right, that's good. They already give me a graph paper here, and also they already draw the axis for me. So we can just go to 39.5. That's our minimum. 99.5. That's our maximum. Okay. Okay, for the Q1, Q2, Q3, you have to do some working. Yeah, you have to write some working. Okay. And please don't be lazy. Need to show them the working. All right. How do you find the Q1, Q2, Q3? Okay. For the Q1 first quartile, you have to take 1/4 times with the total frequency. And the total frequency is 30. And after doing that, then only you write Q1. Then only you can find your Q1. Okay. Okay. What's 30 divided by 4? 7.5, right? And this 7.5 is not the answer. You have to go to the graph and go to 7.5. Okay, 7.5 is 5 and 10 middle sini. And then you start to draw a dotted line, and the moment you reach the graph, you tarik bawah x-axis. So that's your Q1. Okay, so it's 59.5 tolak satu kotak. Alright, actually one kotak here represents 1. Yeah, because the difference here, dia plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. Can you see? Every time dia plus 10. So Kalau nak tahu satu kotak kecil sini berapa, just take 10 divide 10 lah. So it's 1. Okay. So what is 59.5 tolak satu kotak? 59.5 minus 1, so 58.5. Okay. And of course, after you do this working, you have to draw in the space provided here also. So 59.5 tolak satu kotak, so it's here, right? So I'm just gonna put a line here. So that's gonna be my Q1. Okay. So now we are done. Now we can go to our Q2. Q2 is also known as the median. So it's 1/2 times total frequency, and then Q2 equals like that. All right, here you get 15, and 15 means you have to go to 15, and then tarik. And the moment you reach the graph, that's when you tarik bawah. So it's 69.5 tambah satu kotak, which is 69.5 plus 1 lah. So it's 70.5. So you just need to go 70.5 and then draw a line like that. Okay, that's our Q2. Okay, I think it looks good. Now we continue for the Q3, the last one. So Q3 is third quartile, and third quartile you have to do 3/4 times total frequency. So what do you get here? 30 divided 4 is 15/2, and then 45 divided 2 is 22.5. So now your Q3 equals, okay, 22.5. 22.5 is 2025 punya middle. So just do dotted line like just now. And when you touch the curve, touch the graph, that's where you tarik bawah. Okay. Alright, all of us will get the same answer. Yeah, all of us will get the same exact answer because this is a diagram. This OGIF is already the given one. So everyone will get the same answer. Okay. Unless the OGIF is like you draw yourself one lah. If you draw yourself, then some of us might get different answer, right? Yeah, our answer might be very close to the schema. But it's fine because they will give a range. Yeah, they will give a range for the answer. But for this question, I don't think they will give you range because they already give you the graph. Okay, so everyone will get the same answer. Okay, so it's 79.5 minus 1 kotak, which is 78.5. And with that, we can complete our box plot now. 78.5 is literally here. So that's all. Now you can join all the lines and you will get the box plot. All right, so it looks like this. Okay, done. All right, let's see what else they want. So number 2, hence from the box plot constructed, state the shape of distribution of the data. Okay, I'm just gonna do it here. So shape of distribution. All right, there's 3 shapes that you need to aware. You need to make sure you're aware of these 3 shapes. First is called the left skewed ataupun skewed to the left, and then we also have right skewed ataupun skewed to the right, pencong ke kanan and pencong ke kiri. And then the last one is called symmetrical, or you can say symmetric. Okay, how do we know what's the shape? All right, first we have to look at the size of the box. We have to look at the size of box, not the line. No, we don't look at the line first. We look at the size of the box first. Always look at the size of the box first. So you can see the left side of the box is bigger than the size of the right side. So if the left side is bigger, that means it's skewed to the left. So you just write left skewed, then you are done. Okay. In Bahasa Melayu is pencong ke kiri. Okay. Now imagine if the right side of the box is longer. Right side of the box is bigger, then you write right skewed lah. Then you tulis right skewed lah. Okay. Now, what if it's the same size? What if the left side and the right side of the box is same size? Okay, if it's same size, you look at the garisan, you look at the line. Okay. Okay, this line actually we call it the whisker. Yeah, the whisker. Okay. So if the box, both sides of the box same size, you look at the whisker. If the left side longer, left skewed. If the right side of the whisker longer, right skewed. Then what if the size of box is same and the whisker for both sides also sama panjang? Okay, that one you write symmetric lah. So symmetric is when what? When the size of box is same and also the line here and the line here dia punya panjang pun sama. Then we will write symmetric. Okay. Alright, that's all for this. Okay, now we're doing bahagian C. So bahagian ni mengandungi 2 soalan, jawab 1 soalan, and 1 soalan is worth 15 marks lah. And usually in this section they will mix up all the chapters one. Yeah, the other A, B, C, D, and they will, yeah, all the chapters is like mixed up. Okay, in this video I will do both the 2 questions. It means I will do all of it. I will not skip Okay. All right, let's start with 16 and see what chapter is this. Okay, in conjunction with the STEM Day, the school has organized a mathematics explorers competition for Form 5 students. Each team is required to complete several tasks at different stations using mathematics knowledge based on real life situations. Okay, so far nothing important here. Yeah, nothing really important here. And then soalan A, Arif was assigned by his mathematics teacher to draw a route plan for the activity at the school square. All right, what's school square? Dataran sekolah. Oh, okay. So it's like a dataran lah. Okay. So he needs to draw a route plan. Huh? Okay, okay. The plan was drawn on the Cartesian plane. Okay, Cartesian plane means the y-axis, x-axis lah. So yeah, so this guy will draw the route plan on the Cartesian plane. Huh? With a scale of 1 unit representing 1 meter in real life. Oh, that means when he draw it on the Cartesian plane, 1 unit is represents 1 meter. Okay, okay. Point A 52 represents the school gate. Okay, where's point A? 52. So I'm just gonna roughly put it like this. Yeah. Actually, you don't have to draw this, but I just draw it so that I can imagine the whole thing better lah. That's why I draw it. Okay, and then point B is 2518 represent the school canteen. So B is like way higher like that. 2518. Okay. Okay, and then number one, determine the midpoint of the location between school gate and canteen. Oh my god, this is so easy. Just use the midpoint formula lah. Alright, if you're MS student, you lagi kena tahu lah ni. Because MS student you learn about coordinate geometry, right? But if you're a math student, you learn this in form 1, form 2, form 3. Yeah, the midpoint formula. So the midpoint formula actually is x plus x divided 2, y plus y divided 2. But they want the midpoint for school gate and canteen, which is point A and point B. Yeah, A is the school gate, B is the school canteen. So how to find the midpoint? X plus x divided 2. That's how you find the titik tengah. So you can take 25 plus 5 pun boleh, 5 plus 25 pun boleh. Doesn't matter. Yeah, because you end up adding them together. So it doesn't matter you ambil siapa tambah siapa. Alright, so 25 plus 5. And then the other one I can take 18 plus 2. Divide 2 lah. Alright, I end up with 6. Here I end up with 10. No, this is not 6. 25 plus 5 is 30. Divide 2 is 15, right? Yeah, so it should be 15, 10. Okay, so what they want? Midpoint coordinates. So that's the midpoint coordinates. Alright, that's it. Okay, number 2, calculate the actual distance in meters between both locations. Alright, I remember they mentioned something about meters just now in the question. They said that 1 unit represents 1 meter in real life. So what we can do now? First, we find the distance, how many units first. Yeah, we'll find the distance in how many units first. Then only we convert to meters. Okay, alright, so let's find the distance in units first. So between both locations. So use the distance formula lah. Alright, the distance formula is square root bracket square plus bracket square. And the first bracket you have to write x minus x, here you have to write y minus y. And let me tell you, this formula is actually the Pythagoras theorem. Yeah, you're actually doing the Pythagoras theorem. Because when you're finding distance between 2 points, 2 coordinates, what you're basically doing is you are taking the horizontal distance and the vertical distance, and then after you have these two distance, you just do Pythagoras theorem. So how do we find the horizontal distance? X minus x lah. So it's 25 minus 5. Alright. And then how do we find the vertical distance? Y minus y lah. So it's 18 minus 2. And why we have to square it? Because that's the Pythagoras theorem. Yeah. A square plus B square equals C square. So you just do this one square plus this one square, and then square out the whole thing to get the hypotenuse. Like that. Okay. Alright. Let's do this. Square root 25 minus 5, 20 square 400. And then 18 minus 2, 16 square 256. So let's press square root 656. Okay, I know 656 is not a perfect square, but you can write in decimal. Yeah, writing in decimal is better. So it's 25.6124 blah 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 like that. Okay, I will just write 4 significant figures. So it's 25.61 units. Okay, and also I can't change it to fraction. So it's okay, I'll just write it like this, 25.61 units. But hold on, they are asking the actual distance in meters. Remember that? So how do you convert to meters? Okay, they did mention that in the Cartesian plane, 1 unit represents 1 meter. So if it's 25.61 units in the Cartesian plane, so the actual length will be 25.61 meters also lah. Yeah, because one unit is 1 meter. So 2 unit will be 2 meter, 3 unit will be 3 meters. So 25.61 unit, 25.61 meters. Okay, so this is the actual distance. Okay, all right, that's all. Okay, what about B? What chapter is this? Okay, I see base 10. So I think it's from 4 chapter 2. Yeah, the number based question, asas nombor. Okay, each group will be given a digital scorecard after completing tasks at each station. Okay, the marks on the scorecard will be written in base 4. Okay, a group with at least 60 marks will qualify for the next round. Okay, what is the meaning of at least 60? It means bigger or equal 60. So only the group with at least 60 marks will qualify for the next round. And the Bella's team scorecard show the mark of 3 to 1 base 4. So number one, convert the marks shown to Bella team scorecard in base 10. Yeah, we have to convert to base 10, then only we know whether she's qualified or not, right? Because now it's in base 4. So we cannot say that she get 321 marks. No, no, no. This is in base 4. So you cannot say that she scored 321 marks. That's just not true. You have to convert to base 10 to know her actual marks. Okay. So 321 base 4, and converting to base 10, you have to write down the place value. 4 power 0, 4 power 1, 4 power 2. Yeah, when you're changing a smaller base to base 10, you kena guna cara ni, cara yang darab. So you have to write down the place value here. And since it's base 4, so 4 power 0, 4 power 1, 4 power 2, and then darab lah. So 4 power 2 times 3 plus 4 power 1 times 2 plus 4 power 0 times 1. And you press all this in the calculator, then you get the marks. Alright, my calculator give me 57. Okay, let's write the base, because it's a number based question, so I recommend writing the base. Alright, what is this? The marks in base 10, okay, for Bella's team. So that's the question 1 done already, convert in base 10. Okay, number 2, hence determine whether Bella teams are qualified or not for the next round. Okay, the answer is not qualified, because they already mentioned in order to qualify, your marks have to be at least 60. It means you have to be 60 marks or lebih. So now it's 57, so we will write not qualified. And the soalan never really ask for the reason. They just write determine whether, and also so 1 marks. So you just write layak ataupun tak layak. So it's tak layak lah, not qualified. Okay. And the reason is because the 57 is less than 60. Okay. All right, that's all. Okay, now for C. Okay, this is the probability question from 4 chapter 9. Ya, kebarangkalian. Okay, at a station, participants are required to draw 2 cards at random without replacement from a box containing 8 colored cards. So let's imagine this. There's 8 cards and participants are required to draw 2 cards. Without replacement means, let's say dalam ni ada 8 card. I will go there and remove 1 card. And after I remove 1 card, I never place it back to the box. That's what it means by without replacement. That means when I'm about to choose the second card, there's only 7 card left. There's only 7 card left. That means this is independent event or not independent? This one is not independent, right? Yeah, because the second selection will get affected. Yeah, because independent events is when the how to say, when you replace it back, it means the second probability also not affected. Okay, but this one is not independent. Okay, each color represents a different type of task to be carried out by the participant, and the box contains 1 red, 2 blue, 3 green, 2 yellow. Okay, and then calculate the probability that number 1, the first card is red and the second card is green. Okay, I always teach my student, for probability question, you have to always consider all the possibilities. Yeah, you have to consider all the other possibilities before doing it. If you don't do that, you will sometimes leave out some importance working, then yeah, you might get it wrong. So what's a good way to list down all the possibilities? Of course, you can draw the tree diagram. Yeah, that's one way to do it, but I'm not gonna do that lah. Okay, but I'll just tell you, if you do the tree diagram, it will look like this. So the first selection, right? Yeah, the first selection, you might end up with red, blue, green, yellow, right? Those are the possibilities. Okay, but of course they all have different probabilities because they all have different quantity. But for the second selection, you might also get red, blue, green, yellow, right? Same with this, same with this, same with this. And as you can see, these are all the possibilities. Red, 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 blue, red, green, red, yellow, blue, red, blue, green, blue, 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 green, blue, yellow, and so on lah. You get the idea, right? And of course, you can write the probability here, right? So that's one way to write down all the possibilities, okay? But actually, this one tak ada markah punya lah. But it's a good way to, how to say, it's still good to draw this because it can tell you all the possibilities. Okay, so now the question wants the probability for first card red, second card green. So what they actually want is probability of red followed by green. red followed by green. So if you look at the tree diagram, you have to go red and then you have to go green here. So to find out the probability here, you just have to take the probability here times with the probability here. So we have to find out the probability of first red. So you can see there's one red card. So it's 1 over the total is over 8. So the first probability of first red is 1 over 8. But you have to multiply times with, okay, second green. Okay, when you draw the second time, it will not be over 8, it will be over 7. Yeah, there's only 7 left inside the box. Okay, yeah, because without replacement mah. So the total kena -1 lah. Then what happened to the number of green cards? Still 3. Yeah, still 3 green cards. Because just now yang you dapat is red. Yeah, so it's 1 over 8 times 3 over 7. So this will give you 3 over 56, and that's the answer. Okay, that means for the number 1, we only do for red green. The rest no need to calculate. Okay. All right, number 2, both cards are the same color. This is where the tree diagram is useful. So just look at all the possibilities. Which outcome have both same color? Red, red, blue, blue, green, green, yellow, yellow, right? Out of all this, that's the only outcome that has same color. So red, red, blue, blue, green, green, yellow, yellow. So I'm just gonna do probability of red, red, plus probability of blue, blue, plus probability of green, green, and then the last one is probability of yellow, yellow. Alright, sebenarnya yang red, red ni tak payah buat tau. Ya, tak payah buat. Let me tell you why. Because the probability of red, red, if you look at the number of red cards, there's how many red cards? 1 red cards, right? As you can see here, it's 1 red card. So, if you want to select the first one red, the probability will be 1 over 8. Okay, but since I never replace it back to the, but this one is without replacement ma. So now it becomes 7 here already, the total. And what happens to the number of red cards in the box now? It becomes 0, right? Yeah, because the one and only red card has already been selected. So when you choose the second, when you about to choose the second time, there's only 0. So what happens here when you take 0 divide 7? It'll be 0. And then 0 times 1 is 0. That is why I said the probability of red, red, this one, sebenarnya tak payah tulis pun tak apa. But I'll write it anyway. Yeah, because I really want to show them the working. Okay. Okay, so for blue, I'll do it here. For green, I'll do here. For yellow, yellow, I'll do here. Okay, for blue, blue, mesti over 8. Ini pun mesti over 7. This one also same. Yeah. You all know why, right? Yeah. Because first, when you make the first selection, there's 8 cards, but the second selection only left with 7. Okay, but this one is blue, blue. So the blue cards, there's 2 blue cards. So it'll be 2 here, 1 here. Yeah, because if the first one you get blue, the next one you have to -1. And then green cards, there's 3. So it'll be 3 green cards at first, but the second green will just be 2 over 7. Okay. And then yellow, yellow, you have 2 yellow cards at first. So it'll be 2 over 8 here. But the probability of second yellow will just be 1 over 7. Okay. Alright, now we just have to use our calculator to get all the answers here. Alright, this one atas darab atas, bawah darab bawah. Same thing here, atas darab atas, bawah darab bawah. Atas darab atas, bawah darab bawah. Alright, 2 plus 6 plus 2 is 10. So it's 10 over 56. But you can use your calculator to help you simplify, kecilkan. So my calculator give me 5 over 28. So that is the answer. Okay, sudah siap. Okay, soalan D. In the final round, the best 2 teams obtain the same overall marks. Okay. Therefore, to determine the winner, the evaluation is based on the time taken by each team to complete the task at each station. Alright. So the time in minutes taken by each team as in table 4. So these are the time taken for the team lah. Okay, but why there is so many time taken here? It's because there's more than one station. Yeah, there's more than one station. This one is not just one station, there's more than one station. So yeah, team A, station 1, they took 15 minutes. In station 2, they take 17 minutes and so on lah. Okay, the mean time for both group is 16. Oh, so they both average around 16 minutes. It means they have the same mean, they share the same mean. So in terms of performance, in terms of speed, in terms of time taken, they both average around 16 minutes. That means they, in terms of performance, they are like, how to say, around the same level lah. Okay, but they say as a competition judge, you are required to determine the most deserving team as the winner. Okay, this kind of question comes out quite often. Yeah, comes out quite often. If you are someone who did the trial paper a lot, you know this type of question asked a lot. And it's always the same method. Yeah, it's always the same method. Dia bagi dua team and then choose siapa yang menang, and you will always choose the one that has lower standard deviation. Yeah, it's always like that. Okay, always like that. So what you have to do now is you actually have to find out the standard deviation lah, and check whose standard deviation is lower. Yeah, the lower standard deviation will be the winner. Because when you have lower standard deviation means you have lower dispersion. That means you are more consistent. Okay. Yeah. In terms of averaging, in terms of average, they have the same mean, but more consistent, they might not be this. Yeah, we will choose the one that is more consistent lah. Okay. All right. So let's find out the standard deviation for team A. So before I find the standard deviation of team A, I need the mean for the team A first. Yeah, because the standard deviation formula is square root sum of, okay, ini tak ada frequency, so just sum of x square over n minus mean square. In other words, you have to have the mean first before finding standard deviation. That's why I need to make sure I have the mean, and I have, it's 16, right? So now you can find out the standard deviation by using this formula. So it's square root, so we will just draw a panjang garisan here, and then we will just use the formula. Okay, so it'll be a panjang garisan here, and then minus with mean square, which is 16 square, because that's the formula. Okay, alright, atas sini you kena buat sum of x square. Basically you taking all the time taken, square dulu, and then jumlahkan lah. So 15 square plus 17 square plus 15 square plus 16.5 square plus 15.5 square plus 17 square, and then over with the n, which is 6. Okay, okay, but let's imagine this is a group data. Okay, if this is a group data, then the formula you have to find midpoint already. Yeah, because if it's group data, then mesti dia akan ada frequency, right? Then the x here you have to use midpoint, and then the f you have to use the frequency lah. Okay, all right. But this question is just, yeah, it's not a group data. That's why we don't do it like that. Okay, all right. Now it's time to use calculator. Alright, I always tell my students, jangan satu baris terus bagi jawapan. Okay, like try to dapatkan jumlah atas dulu, this one all like that, and then the next step baru bagi them the final answer. Yeah, it's good to write like that because when you check back the answer is easy to check also, right? Okay, so let's press. Okay, you have to wait me. I'm pressing 15 square, 16.5 square, 15.5 square plus 17 square. Okay, my calculator give me 1540.5. Okay, 1540.5. So I'm just gonna write that. Okay, this is not the answer. This is just the jumlah atas. Now I will tekan the whole thing. Answer divide 6 minus 16 square and then square root answer. Okay, so 302. So 0.8660. Okay, let's write 4 significant figures because the other bagi banyak digit. So 0.8660 is the standard deviation. Okay, now it's time to do the B punya. Okay, but I don't have enough space. So let me think how I can. Okay, wait. Okay, I think I will just do it down here lah. Okay, so for the mean for B, it will be 16 also because I remember they said they have the same mean. And then the standard deviation of B, we will use the same method like this now. Just draw a panjang line here and then garis and minus mean square. But the mean for team B is 16 also. Alright, so I'll just refer here. So 14.5 square plus 14 square plus 17.5 square plus 16 square plus 16 square plus 18 square. Right? I'm just referring here. Divide with n, which is also 6. So now I will press the calculator. But here I will tekan jumlah atas dulu. And then over 6 minus 16 square. Then only here I give them the final answer. Okay. Alright. Let me press now. 14.5 square plus 14 square plus 17.5 square plus 16 square plus 16 square plus 18 square. Okay, I got 1548.5. So let's write that. Okay, now answer divide 6 minus 16 square, square root answer. Okay, let's write 4 significant figure, 1.4433. So 1.443 lah. So that's the standard deviation for team B. Okay, now we can answer the question. As a competition judge, determine the most deserving team as the winner. So who's the most deserving team? Team A lah. Yeah. So I'll write my final answer here. Team A. Team A is the most deserving team. Is the more deserving team to be the winner. Okay. Okay, the soalan never asked us to write the reason actually. Yeah, they just asked us to determine tentukan siapa paling layak. So I think you can stop here already. Okay, but I've seen questions that ask for the reason. Yeah, I remember there's one more state paper that asks exactly same like that, and they ask for the reason. So I want to mention how to write. You know, right? How to write the reason. You have to mention because Team A has smaller standard deviation, and also mention that Team A is more consistent. Yeah, make sure you mention this if you want to write the sebab. Yeah, standard deviation lower, causing it to be that means it's more consistent lah. That's why it's more deserving. Okay, but for this question, I'll just leave it like this. Okay, all right, that's all. Sudah siap. Okay, let's move on to our last question, 17. Okay, Jitson is the owner and the manager of homestay in Kapit, Sarawak. Okay, as an initiative to enhance the attractiveness of his homestay, Jitson plans to build a swimming pool within the homestay compound. So he wants to build a swimming pool. Okay. Okay, diagram 12 shows a sketch of a circular swimming pool drawn by Jitson on a Cartesian plane. So this Jitson guy, he wants to build a swimming pool and he sketch on a Cartesian plane. Okay, so JK is the diameter. All right, if JK is the diameter, that means the center of the circle must be the midpoint of JK, because we all know diameter means it will mostly passes through the center. Okay, and diameter is actually 2 times with the radius. So if I get the midpoint of JK, that would be the center. Okay, all right, and then they say center at 3, 1. Oh, that's good. They give us the center coordinate 3, 1. Okay, and then given the coordinate of point J is 7, 4. Oh, the point J also given. And then what is the coordinate of point K? Yeah, this one easy lah. Just use the midpoint formula lah. Yeah. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divide 2, y1 plus y2 divide 2. Right? Okay, but the x1 plus x2 will be point J and point K. Okay. And I'm trying to find point K, right? So let's call point K xy for now. And then when we're finding midpoint, kita kena ambil point yang hujung tambah bahagi 2. Okay. So it will be x plus 7 divide 2. And then y plus 4 divide 2 like that. Okay. But sir, itu x, y tak ada. Macam mana nak buat? Okay, tak apa. You have the answer mah. You have the midpoint answer 3, 1. So the 3, 1 you have to write here lah. Okay. Okay, now you can find the x, y. Just banding. Banding means you compare. So when you banding, mesti x sama dengan x, y sama dengan y. So dia akan jadi apa? X plus 7 over 2 equals to 3. And then the y coordinate, y plus 4 over 2 equals to 1. And then cari x from here, cari y from here, then that will be your point K lah. Okay, how to find x? 3 times 2, 6. 6 minus 7, negative 1. 1 times 2, 2. 2 minus 4, negative. So that's the answer. But don't stop here. Don't stop here because they want the coordinate of point K. And you know how we write coordinates. We always write bracket and then negative 1, comma, negative 2 like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is how you should write the coordinate. So that's all. Yeah, it's quite easy. Okay, now B. All right, this one confirm number base question. Okay, from 4 chapter 2. Because you see the base. Yeah. So Jitson wants to choose between two contractor J and K to build the swimming pool. The two contractors have quoted price of RM3827 base 9 and 6514 base 7 respectively. Calculate the difference in quotes in RM between the two contractor in base 10. So I want to ask you how to do this, Christian. First, I have to change both these numbers to base 10 first lah. After changing to base 10, then only you find the difference. Okay? But sir, what if I find the difference first? Tak boleh lah. How can you find the difference now? They are in different base. Yeah, you tak boleh tolak kalau base tak sama. So the only way to do it is to convert to base 10, then baru tolak. You tak boleh tolak dulu baru convert base 10. It's not possible. Okay? So let's convert to base 10. So you have 3, 8, 2, 7, base 9. And convert this to base 10. That means you are converting from a smaller base to base 10. So you kena guna cara darab. Bukan cara bahagi ya. The cara bahagi is when you changing from base 10 to smaller base. Okay. Okay, this one is the opposite. So you kena guna cara darab. Alright, for base 9 to base 10, first you have to write down the place value. So kalau base 9, the place value here will be 9 power 0, 9 power 1, 9 power 2, 9 power 3. And then you kena darab, and then tambah semua lah. So bracket 9 power 3 times 3 plus 9 power 2 times 8 plus 9 power 1 times 2 plus 9 power 0 times 7. So you just press all these, then you will get the price in base 10. So I got 2860. That means the actual price is RM 2,860 ringgit in base 10 for contractor J, of course. Yeah, this one is for contractor J. Okay. Now let's do for contractor K. Okay. So for contractor K is RM 6514 base 7. So same thing, I'm changing it to base 10, but this time the place value will be 7 power 0, 7 power 1, 7 power 2, 7 power 3. Okay. Yeah, because base 7 mah. Tadi base 9. So 9 power, 9 power, 9 power lah. Tapi ini base 7, 7 power. Okay, so 7 power 3 times 6 plus 7 power 2 times 5 plus 7 power 1 times 1 plus 7 power 0 times 4. So after you tekan all this in your calculator, you will get 2314. That means that's the actual price in base 10 lah, RM 2314. Now you can find out the difference in base 10. So to find the difference, you ambil besar tolak kecil. So it will be 2860 minus 2314. And since this is the final answer, I will write RM. So what is the answer? 546. And for number-based question, I always recommend write the base. Okay, so it's in base 10, so let's just write base 10. And make sure you write RM also. Yeah, because this is the last baris. Kalau atas ni tak nak tulis RM tak apa, but usually last baris I recommend writing it. Okay, alright, so 4 marks for this. Okay, sudah siap. Okay, C is a probability question. So it's from 4 chapter 9. So let's do it. Aizat's family and Diva's family went to Jitson's homestay. So we have two family. Table 5 shows the number of members in Aizat and Diva's family who will be staying at Jitson's homestay in conjunction with family day celebration. Okay, the Aizat family has how many members? 13 male, 9 female. So in total there's 22 members here. For Diva's family, it has 14 male, 6 female. So 20 members. So there's a lot of people in their family. Okay, now it says 2 people were randomly selected from the family. Yeah, in the exam, when they come up probability, they always suka tanya for 2 people. Two events. Because the 2 events one is the one yang susah punya. Okay, so 2 people were randomly selected from the family to participate in mini games. Okay, calculate probability that number 1, a male and female are selected. Okay, remember just now when I do 16C, because 16C is also probability, right? And I mentioned about what? Just now I mentioned that when you're doing probability question, a lot of students they can't do it is because why? It's because they never think about all the possibilities. They never think about all the other possibilities. They just focus on that, on this. Then yeah, that's how they buat salah lah. Okay. So remember when you're doing probability question, consider all the possibilities first. Before doing it, check what's the other possibilities. So 2 people selecting for mini game, and you want to find probability for 1 male and 1 female. Then think about what's other possibility. Besides 1 male, 1 female, what's the other possibility? You might get male, male, right? And you might also get male, female, male followed by female, or it could be female, male, or it could be female, female, right? So these are all the possibilities. Now, you check what the question wants. They want probably that 1 male and 1 female are selected. That means you are finding the probability for this one and this one. Okay, so now you know that, now you can start doing it already. Yeah, now you can start doing it already. Okay, so I will just write here probability for a male and female, right? So how can you write this? Okay lah, I think you can just write a male and a female like that. Okay, and then you will just find out the probability for male, female, and then plus with the probability for female, male like this. Okay, okay. Some student they always get it wrong for probability question is because they never think about all the possibilities first. Yeah, so maybe they will just do this one only. Then they forget about this, then salah lah. Okay. So always remember when doing probability, we need to consider all the possibilities first. Okay, what is the probability for male? Okay, we don't really care whether they are from the same family or not. We just care about the gender now, male, female. So what I'll do is I will combine the 2 males. So 13 plus 14 is 27. And then 9 plus 6, I will combine Jerry 15. And why I combine it? Because Yeah, because we don't really care about whose family gets selected. We only care about whether it's boy or girl. Okay? So there is 27 male, and out of 27 plus 15 is 42. So the probability for male would be 27 over 42. And then times with, okay, this question they never say with replacement ataupun without replacement, we don't know, right? But let me tell you, dia mesti without replacement. Because this one you pilih orang untuk main mini game. So takkanlah you sudah pilih satu orang and then you ask the orang to go back, and then you randomly choose again. No, it's not possible, right? Mesti you already choose one person, that means that person will not be chosen again. That means the total will become 41 here already. Okay? Yeah, sometimes you just have to use logic to think lah. Yeah, when you choosing orang to main game mesti dia adalah not independent events. Yeah, it's not independent. Okay? Same like the 16C just now lah. The 16C also not independent, right? Yeah, because this one they also say without replacement. Okay, this question never say without replacement, but you know, mesti one because you're choosing to main game so you can't choose. Yeah, yeah, you can't be having two same exact person to play that game. It's not logic. Okay, the atas punya number here you have to put down the female. Yeah, because this one is male, female, right? So the female number is 15, so it's 15 like this. Okay. Okay, now this one is for probability of female followed by male. So this one mesti over 42, 41 also. Okay, the first one nak jadi female punya probability, female is 15. So 15 over 42 times with, okay, the probability of second male, okay, male ada 27 lagi, but the jumlah kena tolak satu lah, 41. Okay, when you press all this in your calculator, you will get the answer. So I got 135 over 574. So that is the final answer. Okay. All right, let me double check a bit. Yeah, correct. Okay, now let's do B2. Both selected members are from the same family. Okay. All right, what's the meaning of probably getting same family? That means we don't care about whether it's male, female now. We only care about them being from the same family. That means your possibilities is not male 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 female 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 male. Yeah, the possibility is not like that this time, because if you want to select from same family, that means your possibility becomes what? It's either you get Aizat Aizat, Aizat Diwa, Diwa Aizat, Diwa Diwa, right? Yeah, so your possibility changed because you don't really care about the gender now. You just care about them being same family. So you either get Aizat Aizat ataupun Aizat family, but the second one is from Diva's family, or maybe Diva's first selection you get from Diva, and then Aizat ataupun Diva Diva. But you don't have to do all of it. Just do the one yang dia mau. Same family. So you are finding the probability for same family. Basically, you are finding probability for what? For Aizat Aizat and Diva Diva. So nanti kena tambah sini lah. Alright, let's calculate the probability for Aizat family here. Okay, mesti over 42 over 41. Ya, mesti. Okay. But atas sini saya kena letak Aizat family members punya bilangan. So let's go up and find out the Aizat family. So I think I have to tambah this already. Okay. Yeah, the male and female have to tambah. So you get 22 here, and then here you get 20. Okay. Yeah, why I have to tambah is because we don't, we can mix up the boy girl this time. Yeah, we just have to make sure it's uh from the same family. Okay. So that means Aizat family ada 22 orang. So if you want the first one to be Aizat's family, the probability will be 22 over 42. But the next one, you have to take 22 minus 1 jadi 21. Yeah, because the first one, if the first one I choose Aizat family, that means the next one, if the next one also you want Aizat family, that means have to minus 1. Okay. Okay, for the Diva Diva, it will be 20 over 42. Let's double check. Yes, Diva got 20, right? But it's 20 out of 42. And the probability of second Diva have to minus 1, 19 over 41. Because the first one already choose the Diva family, that means when you're choosing the second member, it's only 19 left lah. Okay. Alright, now it's time to use calculator and get the answer. Okay, my calculator give me 421 over 861. So that is the answer. Okay. Alright, that's all. Okay, I think this D is the last question. So let's finish it. Okay, Aizat's family has 22 family members. Yeah, I know that because just now I did this. I already kira. Yeah, it's 22 members. So we know that already. And then with X representing the age of each is family member. Oh, so X represents age. And given that the sum, okay, this symbol is called sigma and it means sum. Huh? So the sum of bracket X minus mean square equals 900. And then sum of X square equals 3060. Number one, calculate the variance. All right. Okay, I think I know now. Okay, so let's talk about the variance formula, right? Yeah, let's talk about the variance formula. So the formula to find variance, all right, first of all, this is the symbol for variance. Yeah, the other square lah. And the formula is you take the sum of x squared divided by n minus with the mean square. That's how you find variance. Okay, but of course, if the data has frequency, then you have to do this divide sum of n minus mean square. And if it's a group data, you need to use midpoint for the x. Okay, but I think for this question we will not be using this because I don't think there's frequency here. Yeah, you look at this also tak ada frequency, right? And I don't think you have to, how to say, you have to find midpoint. Yeah, yeah, it's not the group data. So I think this must be the formula we will use. But there's a problem. There is a big problem because when you find variance, you need the sum of x squared, which is good. You have it 3060. Now the n you also have it, which is 22. But the problem is what you don't have the mean. 900 is not the mean. 900 is the sum of x minus mean square. So this is a big problem. So then some of you might say, but sir, you can use the mean formula because the mean formula is the sum of x divided n. Okay, yes, but but you don't have this. You don't have the sum of x. Okay, the n you have lah, 22. But the sum of x you don't have. It's not 900. No, this is different. Okay. Okay, one of my students said this. One of my students said, sir, you just square root the 3060. Because he said this one is sum of x square. So if I want to sum of x, I just square root this ah. I pindah the square like that jadi square root. Mana boleh? Tak boleh, wrong. You cannot do like that. Because this sum of x square, it means what? The sum of x square means semua nombor square lepas tu baru tambah. All the x, all the h ataupun all the data square 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 semua sudah square baru tambah. Okay, but what I want now is the jumlah saja, the jumlah saja. So you cannot just square root this. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. Cannot do like that. Okay, because this 3060 comes from square dulu baru tambah. Dia square dulu baru tambah. Okay, dia bukan tambah dulu baru square. That's why you can't just square root this to get the total x. So that becomes a huge problem, right? Because now I'm stuck here, right? So let me tell you the correct way to do it. You have to use the other variance formula. Yeah, so I have to erase all this. I have to use the other variance formula. Okay. Yeah, actually not many people are aware of this, but there's another formula for variance, which is sum of x minus mean square over n. Yeah, this is the other formula for variance. Okay, but we don't use this often lah. Yeah, we don't use it often. The last time I used this is like I don't know when already. Yeah, jarang guna, but you need to make sure you know also. Okay, so it's good that they asked this in this state paper lah. So now I have chance to explain to you. So this is the formula. And the formula looks like this. Sum of bracket x minus mean square over n. And let me tell you what is this. This is, you take the x, the data, minus with mean first. Minus with mean first. Then only you square. And then jumlahkan. That's what it means. Okay. And the only way to find variance is by using this formula. Because you can see they give you the 900. And the 900 is exactly what you write up here. So the variance is, yeah, very straightforward. Just 900 divided with 22. That's it. Yeah. So now it becomes very easy already because you already know the formula, right? So it's 450 over 11. I think I'll write fraction for this. Yeah. Okay, number two, they want to find mean, right? All right. We all know the mean formula is the sum of x over n. But I already told you just now, we can't do it like that because there's no method for me to find the sum of x. You cannot square root the 3060. I already told you just now. Then how do you find the mean then? Well, very easy because you already get the variance. So why not you put the variance back into this formula, and then the total x square you put 3060 and then the n 22, and then you can just pindah cari the mean lah. Okay. But sir, I thought you say this question cannot use this formula. Yalah, tadi tak boleh guna. Sebab tadi kita tak ada mean. But sekarang you sudah dapatkan variance. So you can sub back inside to cari balik the mean lah. So now I will use this formula. But the variance I already have it 4 by 0 11. And then the sum of x square I also have it. The n also I have it 22 minus mean square. So now you just pindah cari mean lah. Okay, if I want to cari mean, I'll try to make it positive first. Now it's negative, so I will move it over here. So sekarang dia jadi positive mean square. Now here you left with 3060 over 22 minus 450 over 11. Sebab 450 over 11 sudah pindah sini. So basically the mean square I pindah sini and then 45011 pindah sana. So now I will press this in my calculator and then later kena square root lagi ya. Alright, 3060 minus 450 over 11. Alright, I got 1080 over 11, but that's not the answer yet. Sebab saya nak cari mean sahaja. So square hantar jadi square root. So just press square root answer. Okay, let's write in decimal. 9.9086. So 9.909. Okay. Okay, this one dia tak dapat tukar jadi fraction kan. So I think okay, if you change to fraction dia ada square root. So I think I'll just write in decimal lah. So 9.909 is the final answer. Okay. Okay, one last thing before I finish it. The square when you hantar jadi square root actually ada dua jawapan tau. Yeah, there's actually two answers because when you square root there's actually plus minus. So that means there's two answers, positive and negative. Tapi you will ignore the negative answer because mean tak ada negative. Mean is the average. Yeah, it's average. It's like the center value of the data. So the center value will never be negative. Yeah, because age also tak ada negative. So the mean for the age also takkan ada negative. That's why I will not even write the negative answer because we will end up rejecting it anyway. So that's the answer, right? All right, I think I'm done with the whole paper. Yeah, so this is the end of question paper, kertas soalan tamat. All right, so hopefully this video can help you in some way to prepare for the SPM exams. And that's all for this paper. So if you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe. And if you are interested to gain early access to my future videos, you can join my channel membership. Okay, so I'll see you next video. Okay, bye bye.